Hello, and welcome back to the Where Wub podcast with myself, Ryan Levine, joined here by Mitchell Cimino and Calvin Harrigal. There's no Travis this week, but he will probably be back next week or whenever we do another one, presumably. Scheduling conflicts, etc. So, today we're going to briefly go over the uh, banned and errata list, if you can call it that, I guess. But then we will have a more comprehensive look at the metas from this year, and then we're going to talk about the Guilty Gear stuff that's been revealed since our last one, which is all of it. We've seen about half of the set, and the last time we talked about it, we saw 4 cards from the set. So we've seen about 40
really
cards
happy
since then.
then. And
Yes.
now we're
Should
happy.
we do
I'm
any
still pretty happy
regional
about it.
bit too?
Yes, and then
Oh yeah.
and the regional.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Also, the
Also,
thing
there was a
that-
regional that I didn't go to, so it didn't occur to me
Yeah.
that it existed. It's fine.
Of course.
Yeah.
Ryan was busy getting me the soccer ball rescue rabbits. That was the whole thing that he was doing. He wasn't doing anything else.
Yes.
That was the sole mission on the weekend. But yeah, Ryan, you had some points you wanted to bring up about the ban and errata list or lack thereof. I have largely cooled on it. My knee-jerk reaction was because like I have been in the muck and the shit, and I've been playing in the format, and it feels a little bit stale. But like realistically, we have like a month before another event that matters, so like they're going to have another one of these, and I think it's fine that they're taking a month to decide on what they want to be doing. But you had some points you wanted to bring up in general.
Um, yeah. So I think a lot of people are very upset about the fact that there were no changes this month. And I think if you look at what they were saying in the article, which granted, I think they should have probably been a little, not necessarily clear, but a little more like forceful about it. Of like, there's not no changes because they think everything is fine and nothing is the problem. There are no changes because the event was yesterday and they want to have a more comprehensive look at the metagame with the release of Guilty Gear. And they are specifically not going, I mean, hopefully, I guess, based on what they said, specifically not just hand waving, Guilty Gear's about to come out. Maybe that'll fix everything, like they have done with previous sets where like a new set release is about to come out, so we want to see how that does something first. It's like, no, we've seen a lot of Guilty Gear, and we see the mechanics of Guilty Gear are all very momentum based, and quite a few of the top decks right now are also very like momentum based. Mainly Godzilla is a character that just, if there are a like saturation of tension 5 diff moves that are just also playable, Godzilla will be playing his turn with plus 11 to his checks, like basically in perpetuity. So
Yes, yeah, forever and ever.
I think that's the biggest one. But yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about like the band and errata schedule in general and how I think it needs to change, and also because I think every single month when there is no change, the community outrages, and we just don't need to go through this. And I want to take a look at the timeline of when the events have been scheduled, when the sets have been released, and when the band and erratas have come out. Because I think just blanket first Tuesday of the month doesn't make sense and doesn't help anything. I guess I prefer this to the previous system of whenever they want with, no one knows when there will be anything. But I want to look at how frequently events this year just happened to be scheduled in a time frame where a banned and errata list could not occur, because when the banned and errata list is posted, it doesn't go into effect until the next week. And there were quite a few events that were either right before or right after a ban and errata list could occur, so there was no chance of the events having a list if there were problems that needed to be addressed. And there were problems that needed to be addressed, which is evidenced by the fact that early in the year we had 3 lists in a row with changes. And this year we've had since rotation, I should say. So since rotation happened, we've had 6 lists, and there have been 3 with changes all in a row, and then 3 without changes all in a row. And I don't necessarily think that's where it should, like, that that seems to me like something was amiss or something was not quite handled properly. But we'll go into that. Um, but yeah, before I delve into the timeline, do either of you have any thoughts on the on the list or lack thereof? I guess I should say.
I
Well, uh,
I think more
yeah, go ahead.
so my initial knee jerk reaction was just like a result of like it does not matter for what because he's goaded, but like I am playing to be in top 8 for points. So like I now have to be like playing at most events and just like trying my hardest. So like I have been just playing a bunch of the game. And like I don't like this format or
Yeah,
I don't like some of the things in
and
it.
that's fair
So like
too. Like you, that's fair, and I think that's also, even if it's not completely imbalanced and unplayable, whatever, whatever. I think a lot of people are just like, the same decks have been good for longer than we want them to be, and the
right.
power level of the decks that are good is higher, is so much higher relative to what we're used to the tier 2 to tier 3 decks, that it's just like not it's not fun if you don't happen to like playing one of the decks that are really good, which we'll get into that too. You kind of
Mhm.
just can't do anything, is what I think the sentiment is. Whether or not that's actually the
Yeah.
case, whether or not the data actually supports that, I'm not sure, but we can look at that too. But yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how much we want to talk about current because I figured you're sort of going to do this timeline up to now, and
Yeah, do you
like
want to
that
do
also
that
kind of
first
ties
and then
it.
we'll lead
Yeah, I
into?
think we do that now
Yeah,
because
go
like
for
when
it.
we get to this point, then we can sort of talk about
Sure.
this event and how we feel about
Yeah.
current.
Okay. So let's take a step back and let's look at the year so far. The year is almost done for competitive events. I believe the last competitive events on the schedule, there's the Glasgow Regional in November, and then there is the final North American Regional in December. And then I believe that's it as far as the 2020, even though it's in February 2026, it's technically the 2025 World Season event. So I believe Buffalo is the final event for the season, I guess, and then we just go into Worlds, and then rotation will happen after. So we are almost done. We are, 80% of the way there. So the first event after rotation was Denver, which is we rotated Crimson Rampage and Hero Clash, and we got Critical Role. Critical Role set one, or I guess technically set Heroes of Alexandria. I guess Critical Role one was technically the Challenger decks, but anyways. And the metagame for that event was, even though Rodan won the event, the top cut was pretty dominated by, or at least the sentiment was they were dominated by the champ cards that just became legal, which were the Mitch champ card and the Nick Reagan champ card. And the next ban errata list banned Immortal Shapeshifter, a card that I agree needed to be banned. I think it was very toxic and created a lot of strategies that were really uninteractive and unfun. Um, as soon as it came out, I think like I was pretty much sounding the alarm on that one, where like, oh, I just gained 26 life in my character. What is going on? And then Combined Firepower got errata. And I remember people complaining about this, not because these weren't cards that needed to be hit or not, but it was as if they were 5 months late. Like, these cards have been problems for so long, and they're not even the current main problem. Immortal Shapeshifter was not in the decks that won the event. Like, Immortal Shapeshifter was not, it's not on the symbol of the Rodan deck. It's not in the Mitchell deck. It's not in the Nick Reagan deck. And it was really, really strong in the, life attuned, life gain, and death. Hanj 2 was the probably the biggest offender of that card, right?
So it was obviously a big deal for Ymir.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Ymir as well, for sure,
the
yeah.
yeah, I think the so I don't think this was a card that was really like we knew it was kind of silly in multiples. But it was sort of after AOT 1 where I think you were playing it in Irwin and resolving like shrewd triggers and ambition and I'm with you and like stacking like 5 responses on sacking one foundation that you started to say like, hey, this is kind of a lot. And that was sort
Right.
of when we started pushing against that card, or when I at least noticed you complaining about it more. And then obviously Ymir like could stack, like just comical amounts of damage. And then AOT2 was when we got recuperation time, and it sort of turned into this like. I remember you making a focused attack for like 50 damage, and in Hanj 2, I made it like my
you
life total -1 or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it was like I made like a 50 damage focus attack, and you lived on 1, and we're like, no, you know, and we're like, nope, like this shouldn't be a thing. Yeah,
But this was all like later in 2024, really.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
obviously Recovery Girl prison stuff, I guess. I don't know if Corey even really used it. Was he on life? No, he was on good,
water,
wasn't
wasn't he? Or
he? Water. So
I
he,
think he
yeah,
was
he
on
just
water,
didn't even
yeah.
have it. He was
Yeah.
just recoup time stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, like this Immortal Shapeshifter, like I will give credit where it's due. I do think the game is like I actually think the game of Universe is better off with Immortal Shapeshifter not in it, and it just didn't. It just seemed ill timed, or it was like people wanted different things to be happening, and it was like, why is this happening now? You know, I would not go as far to say as Immortal Shapeshifter ruined the Worlds format or whatever, but it probably should have been not legal for the Worlds format. Like if it was deemed to be bannable in April, nothing had really happened in Critical Role that made it better. It was probably at its best at the Worlds format, and people were like, why why is this ban list seem like it's on a delay? Combined Firepower should have been eroded a million years ago. Should have been made as it was, right? So anyways, that was what we got after Denver. It just seemed to be not the issues that people wanted to be addressed, by and large. Then that was April 2nd, which is funny because April 1st was a Tuesday, and they decided not to have a ban list on April Fool's Day, which I don't know, man. Like, sure. But April 19th was the first EU regional, where Ymir won after Immortal Shapeshifter got banned. And okay, sure. Whatever. And then Devil Jin got second. And I think that maybe a little before this was where people started not realizing, but where people started, I guess I'll say realizing the really, really, really powerful synergy between Aero Goblin Ball and Devil Jin.
So it was not only that, but it was the fact that the Nick enhance was essentially like 8 enhances bottled into one. That canceling all of it was so crazy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like, I think when Aero Goblin Bolt came out, everyone's like, "Holy crap!" You can just put this in your card pool. But it took a little bit until that character was, everyone thought Nick was extremely strong, and Devil Jin sort of emerged as a counter at that point.
Yes, because the Aero Goblin Bolt basically the Nick Reagan deck got one enhance, and then Aero Goblin, and then Devil Jin puts Goblin Bolt in the card pool, and now the next attack is just you cancel it with Goblin Bolt, and then you can, if you have a second Goblin Bolt, you can just keep putting them in your card pool. Yeah, and it was a strong deck in its own right, because putting Aero Goblin Bolt in your card pool on offense meant you could cancel very powerful effects like Barrier Shield and just any of these like damage reset enhances. And then on defense, obviously, you have a ton of health, and you just get to stop their damage pump. I remember people complaining about this. Oh, and also the next list on May 6th, Devil Jin got eroded to be your turn, so you could no longer put Goblin Ball in your card pool on defense, and VME got banned. And I remember being up in arms about this list because the defense was not the problem. Like we I think this is when we were in our Nick Reagan Doom posting era. And
we were. So
these were the only cards that beat that.
Yes. I will preface this with, we definitely did complain a lot about VME, specifically in the context of like block zones didn't feel like they mattered.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like there were cool moves that, haha, who cares, Lightning Blast. But like we'd be messing around with Exandria cards, and we were stuck with them for a little while. Especially because they weren't legal for Albuquerque. And some of those things were like zone check type things and stuff, and VME just did not care in the slightest.
The AOT3 cards, you mean? That weren't legal for Albuquerque?
Yeah, because the AOT3 card, yeah. Well, like for the ABQ regional, right?
Yes.
Like we
were
frustrated with VME at that time, for sure. So
well,
like
VME was a casualty of the Mitchell deck, right? Like
yes,
that was
it certainly was.
That was the biggest offender. Is like the Mitchell deck specifically. VME was.
Turning on VME turn 0 going second was like egregious in its own right.
Yeah.
With a card that was already like invalidating a bunch of different attacks in certain decks.
Yes. However, when we were talking about when I remember when we were talking about like, oh, what would we want the list to be? And we're like, well, VME probably needs to be banned, but oh my god, they cannot ban VME before they hit the Nick Reagan deck. Because that's literally the only way you ever don't die. And then they banned VME and Errata Deviljin and didn't touch Nick Reagan, and we were like, it's cooked. Like what? Like
It's
what?
all-
Like it's
Yeah.
done.
Nick has hacked the website.
Yeah. So I remember our response to this, like our personal response to this was Mitch just played the Nick Reagan deck, and then Wub and I, the all symbol one, and then Wub and I made very hard counter anti Nick Reagan decks. Specifically,
we
the
focused
all
on
version. Yes.
Runaway, barrier shield, stuff like that.
Yeah, and just reset, just speed resets and everything.
Huh.
And then
I didn't even realize that Calvin tops right after VME is banned with Godzilla, which is sort of that was the deck that we saw kind of emerge because VME no longer because they come at every zone.
Yes.
Right? And VME says you don't care, just hold whatever.
And we have many pictures of us at locals of like Calvin drawing his hand at locals announcing no character can ever survive this. Me looking at my stage of VME and 4 momentum and just going, I will take 0 damage, and took 0 damage against his character every week for 4 months at locals. Like just there, I would have a picture of a screenshot of Calvin has 7 attacks in his card pool, and I'd go, I took 1 or something, like because VME was just VME for sure just invalidated Godzilla as a character, which is like we'll get to that too, I guess. But yeah, so the first VME ban event. I actually did I. Hold on. Nope, that's later. Okay, yeah. So the first VME ban event was Albuquerque, and yes, Calvin topped with Zilla in Albuquerque, and then the rest of the Deviljin also topped Albuquerque, even with the errata. It just was no longer like the Nick Reagan counter deck, and then the most represented deck in Top Cut was Nick Reagan, but it was not the all version that most people were building to beat. It was the air version, which attacked on a completely different axis, right?
Yeah.
The all version was all about making huge statted attacks, and you'd have like a couple of them, and then you could get to more if you drew besieges or VME teamings or
you go like
big
fizz bash teaming stuff.
But it wasn't like most of the time. It was just making a couple really tall attacks, right? And then the air deck didn't do that. The air deck put +2/+2 on 14 attacks in a turn, and it would go Warp Gate Portal, Sniping Spy, Lightning Rod. It would just play a ton of attacks. So if you built your deck for stuff like Barrier Shield and damage resets and runaways, it was not as effective against the air deck. To the point that like I remember round 1 I played against air Nick Reagan, and my turn 1 build was new number 1 Eden Box, and like 2 more speed hate cards, and my opponent goes Kraken, freeze new number 1, commit Eden Box, and I went, game is over. Like this is the air symbol. Like I cannot win. Like this is just done. And I just died. Right? Like I just died. And yeah, it was like it was a good metagame pick to play the air deck. And it paid off. It was the most represented tech in Top Cut. But the winner of the event ended up being Andrew won back-to-back, and he won with Kedora, which is funny that he won with Rodan, the Errata Combined Firepower, and he went, okay, fine, I'll just play the character that gets to still play Combined Firepower.
Yeah, I'll play the Cannon Combined Firepower.
And then,
fine.
So that is funny. But I'd say the biggest impact of this regional was the Nick Reagan deck, right? Like the air Nick Reagan deck.
Yeah.
So then we saw at the end of the
finals was 2 Godzilla characters, right?
Finals was
Rodan
versus Ghidorah. Which we'll get to that too. And then because the previous event Rodan won, right? So Denver, Rodan wins. The EU event, I actually didn't take down how many Godzilla characters were in top cut of the EU regional. 2 Rodans in top cut. Curious. After the combined firepower errata. Interesting. Still good, I guess. Yeah. And then let's see what happened next. AOT3 releases 20 minutes after Albuquerque. So, then we had the Melbourne regional, where Peak was the most represented deck in Top Cut, and I still think Peak is a perfectly fine character, but I do think this was a symptom of the set had not been out for long enough for all of the odd synergy decks to be figured out yet. And I think, as we've said previously, I think Peak is maybe the strongest character in the game at just playing regular. If that, at just like playing cards and putting stats on it. Like if the set comes out and your event isn't a week and your event is in 10 days, I completely understand how Peak is going to be one of the most represented characters and the most successful character in Top Cut. It wins the event, and then has three in top 8. So, like, I get it. I do think that, and I do remember people clamoring immediately, "Oh my God, Peak is so broken! Ban Peak, ban Peak!" And this is like, I do think that sometimes people kind of, I mean, we've been guilty of this in the past, not to this extent, but I do think we've been guilty, and I'm trying to rein us back a little bit of our like knee-jerk reaction. We need a hard reset of the format after every tournament because a deck won. Like, a deck has to win the tournament, like something does, and I do think it was the correct decision to not immediately hit the AOT3 stuff after the OC regional, despite some people saying they wanted that to happen. But there was a banner list 3 days later, or I guess it was the next day, technically, after the end of the regional, where it was just the Nick Reagan deck gets an errata to be, or the Nick Reagan character gets a twice per turn errata. So you can no longer do the air combos, which, in my opinion, the air deck was the more offensive one, not even because of the power level, just because of it had so many cards that picked up your deck and insert. Like, resolving Warp Gate Portal in a 126 card deck 3 times is pathetic. Like, it is like, it is so miserable. And it's just something that, like, in paper with physical cards cannot exist. Like, you can't allow that to be a thing because it is just a miserable play experience outside of the power level. So I am glad that the very first Banner Errata, like, this is the one where I think they kind of hit the nail on the head of their, like, this was a thing for one event cycle and we've acknowledged it should not exist and we have fixed it. So that's like the one where I'd be like, this is probably the best one they did, where they were like, okay, this needs to go. But there were no events in June that I have on my list. I don't think there were any events at all in June. Yeah, I guess technically the Melbourne Regional was May 31st, so I guess technically that actually was June 1st or June 2nd when it ended, I think. So then we had no changes to the banner erratas in July, which makes sense because why would you? You had a ban list and then no tournaments. So I guess how or why would you have an errata, but whatever. Then mid-July we had Louisville, and I think this is when the AOT3 synergy decks were kind of unlocked. And by that I mean we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 backup synergy decks in top 16, right? It was 3 Hanj, Zeke from AOT2, and then 2, and then the finals was the Zeke mirror, for Zeke War Chief. So
yeah, I think people figured out like sort of how to run the backup decks, like kind of ratios that were, because things aren't the same, right? When you have these game pieces that you can't commit for checks and
so definitely,
unless you're Hanj, which get to that.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely by this point, I think, and then also 18th and 20th and 19th, like 18th, 19th and 20th and 21st were also backup decks. Like most of the there were a lot of people on the bubble that also played some backup decks. So like with one or two different matches in the tournament, it could have gone from 6 out of 16 being the backup decks to 10 out of 16 being the backup decks with not much changing. So, and then of course we had the usual suspects. We had Agadora, we had 2 Godzillas, we had Odeku, and a pony, right, and like stuff like that. But for the most part, it was kind of just the AOT backup decks running the show for Louisville. And then after Louisville, in between the next event, we had the TMNT release. And TMNT, I still think, was super hard to evaluate also because it was a lot of the symbols that had not been receiving support. So even when we saw strong cards or weak cards, we really didn't know how to evaluate them because they were not legal in any decks that were good at that moment. Because like the good symbol and evil symbol literally didn't exist, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So, and still don't really exist. But for the next one for Spain, Deku, it was the first of many Deku Godzilla finals. And by many, I mean 2. But 3 of top 4 was Godzilla. And Deku wins somehow. Deku beats 2 Godzillas in their top cut run, which I still maintain is the most impressive thing probably from any of these regionals because the Deku Godzilla matchup. Yeah, because the Godzilla Deku matchup is untenable, and I have gone back, or I've not gone back and watched I watched the finals as it was happening. I have not gone back and like really like analyzed it to be like, okay, what exactly was being done? What was being done differently here? And yes, in the finals he did get bailed out where he airy smiles. His opponent has no foundations in their hand. I'm pretty sure he would have lost if they had a foundation, but again, they discarded the foundation. It's whatever. But still, it was impressive to have done that. Also, shout out to 19th place Matthew Mitchell playing the Mitchell Cimino deck at this event, which I just see on my screen here. Yes.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the what did I have in my notes here? So I just wrote Spain Deku / Zilla in my notes, so I guess that's fine. And then the OCE regional ends up being, I don't think the finals was Reiner Mimic, and I don't think these characters have shown up to other events. Like I'm not gonna say this was I'm gonna say this was an outlier. Like I do not
Mimic
think
topped Louisville. I want to say
yes, but like I think the finals being Reiner Mimic is an outlier from all the rest of the events, not only from this season but from this year. Of just like, I would be extremely shocked, honestly, if either of these characters made the finals of another event this year. I just don't see that happening. I just don't. So I think it was an outlier. Not saying it wasn't deserved or warranted. These decks are both good. I just think now the other decks have been more optimized, and it would shock me to see these decks perform like this again. It wouldn't shock me for them to top. It would shock me for them to win. And then my notes here, I think I have this was the first event where Heist was, because this is the second TMNT event, and Heist did not show up to Spain. I don't even know if anybody played Equipment Heist in Spain at all. Just a quick rundown of the decks. I could be wrong, but I do not think a single player at the Spain regional had registered Equipment Heist in their deck list. So the OCE event, 2 Equipment Heist decks make top 8, and they are far from optimized, I guess. And they're still not all these decks are still not optimized. As you said, this is another one of those decks kind of similar to the backup synergy decks where your deck ratios have to be different. And we are getting closer and closer and closer, and we're going to talk about how the Equipment Heist decks have evolved, I think, since then. But I think this is the event, for me at least, that put Equipment Heist on the map. Where I'm like, okay, Equipment Heist, even with the airship, or even with the unique rule errata, Equipment Heist is a real threat. And with some optimization, it could be extremely strong. As we see, 2 Equipment Heist decks, 2 Hawks decks make top cut. And then we have the no changes on the September list. The September list was the same week as Toronto, so even if there were changes, it wouldn't have gone into effect. So that's put a pin in that. But just take note, that was the first time this has happened, I think. This is the first time this year, maybe, where even if there were changes on the list, they would not have done anything, or they wouldn't have been in effect for the event. So when that's the case, I do not think it makes any sense to make changes because it would just make people upset if they go ban list, but event is still the old ban list. And it also puts all of the event coverage in a weird spot where, like, how do the commentators talk about an event where the cards being featured are already banned? Like, right?
Yeah.
Just from a logistics point of view, if there is a Tuesday, if there is an event the first weekend of a month, you just can't have a ban list that month. And we'll put a pin in that and come back to it. But Toronto was that week where we see another Godzilla Deku finals, and we see the Rodan also making top 8, and 2 backup decks, equipment heist deck, and not an equipment heist deck, but JJ's overhaul list is sort of the same concept of he's not playing equipment heist, but he's just playing other ways to cheat out his 7 diff assets into play. So I'm kind of going to group that in the same type of category of, I guess I'll refer to them as massive mutant machine decks, where we have 2 massive mutant machine decks, 2 backup decks, got 2 Godzilla starter deck characters, Deku, and then the last one was Pony, who just got the new tool of Hunter's Ally building in Genghis Frog, right?
So, I mean, for what it's worth, I think JJ easily could have put Heist in this. He's running Mist to Despair. He's playing a character that plays on no progressive for a move.
Overhaul
he
just
can
has
build the
evil.
Heist face down. Yeah.
I didn't even remember.
I think had JJ wanted to test with Heist a bit, there's a decent chance he could have played Heist.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. That's interesting. Yeah. So for sure. Yeah. So we have the asset decks. I obviously this is the one that we all went to, and then this was just kind of like how it played out is kind of how we expected, more or less, right? Like, as far as what Top Cut was comprised of, all the decks we thought were good were just the decks that did well, and we were the ones playing half of them. So I guess that also tracks. But I guess this is where, like, this is also, like, Calvin played almost the same deck for the Toronto Regional as he did for Louisville. Like, almost the same deck. And Louisville, he went X4 or something. Like, he went, like, 5-4 or something, or whatever. Let me find it. Yeah. Trying to think of what actually.
Pull up his matchups.
I'm pulling up his matchups. Yeah, because his deck was almost identical. He cut Phantom Sway. He played 1 Phantom Sway at Louisville, and he cut his vanilla foundations that check 6s for actual cards with text. That was the other.
That was a good choice.
That was a good choice, wasn't it? Yeah, the ones that we kept telling him to not be in his deck. Yeah.
And look what happened.
Happened. Yeah. So he cut his vanilla 6 checks for. Let's see, for Guardian Angel. For Guardian Angel, that's a good one. Those are good ones. Yeah, and then he cut Airship. He just put another foundation in his deck instead of Airship. But yeah, and then just the same attack lineup of 4 Vast Hybrid, 4 Tornado Advance, 4 Titan Cliff, 4 Smashing Stomp, 3 Walk the Dog, and then
every good one.
Yeah, and then Guardian Angel and Vast Hybrid in the main deck instead of vanilla 6 checks, which Guardian Angel in a lot of situations is a vanilla, haha. Not in a lot, but in some. Like, that card, in the matchups this card is good against, this card is game, and then there are some matchups it's not playable. But Vast Hybrid is
looking
probably...
at his sideboard. Toronto's just like a bunch of good cards, and the Louisville one's just...
Louisville, yeah. Yes, it is, yes, it is, yes. His Louisville side deck is a bunch of cards he probably never sided in. And then his Toronto side deck is good cards. Yes, that's also I mean, that was the main thing that we worked on with his deck. Was like before we left, he just put basically all of his cards on the table, and he's like, "My side deck is unplayable. I need new cards." And then the conclusion that we came to was Moment of Normalcy. If he didn't want to main it, he definitely had to side it because it's just in a deck with this much health, siding Moment of Normalcy is fine. I think maybe he probably could have just mained one, honestly, but and then just
I use the same concept for land, right? Like I
the
just made
defensive
sure it
actions.
existed somewhere.
Yeah, and then like the defensive actions. He was always on the Runaways, but we added a fill with that and a Genkai's. And then the side deck, public deckless unyielding destruction is just like, maybe they'll play around it. And like he put it in sometimes, but for the most part, it was just like maybe they'll do something, whatever. But yeah, so as far as like the innovations for this event, I think it was just this is almost the optimized Godzilla deck of what it's trying to do. He obviously was like, so in his deck profile that we recorded that got deleted from my phone and YouTube and all traces of human history.
For the safety of everyone else involved, yeah.
Yes. Ultimate combination is he goes, this card is unplayable. And I think he either put a fourth Walk the Dog in or he just put I think for Albuquerque he played a throw. And I think he just put a different throw one of maybe. Like the Titan one that's like 1 mid-8 or something, like the really weird one that's just like 1 mid-8 and it's like, yeah, this is 1 mid-11 throw, like die. Like you will be taking 6 or whatever. So
must, yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's just like I think this was like the momentum engine of Titan Cliff and Finally Free is ridiculous. It was not that one. It was a 5-diff one.
Oh, okay. I think I know which one it is.
The momentum engine of Titan Cliff building in Finally Free is obviously just obscene, and Determined Advance is the best anti-control tool in the game, in my opinion. Like it is Titan's Grasp. Yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah, where I think Determined Advance is the best anti-control tool in the game. It is just such a ridiculous card to not be able to interact with the speed on this card, and then the other thing that worked out well for him too was Pass-Through Walls canceling Massive Mutant Machine is huge. Huge. That's just your character has +5 health, basically. Like Pass-Through Walls is flip -5 damage against the Mutant Machine decks. So that was a big one. And then so this is the second Deku Godzilla finals in 3 events.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got what happened next. Atlanta, I guess, was the next event. Yeah, there was nothing in between. So let's look at this is the event that happened this week and is the current metagame. So my notes here: Atlanta, Porco and Hanj strike back. Parentheses fraud Hanj. Not sure why I wrote that. Maybe because all of them lost in top 16. But yeah, so Hanj was the most represented deck in Top Cut of Louisville, and then had no Top Cut appearances in 3 events, and then now was the most represented deck in Top Cut of Atlanta, and then all of them lost in the first round of Top Cut. All of them lost for
something to mention, I guess, to take away from the fraud Hanj allegations or whatever. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you check the conversion rate on Hanj in this event,
5 of them entered, 4 of them topped, and then all of them lost in top 16. Yes. Sorry, I'm gonna keep saying that until we. Just to make sure everyone is
everyone's
clear.
On the same page. Yeah.
Yeah.
The lowest placing Hanj was 24th though.
Yes.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Additionally, what was I gonna say? Oh, so. This is just for me. I want to shout out the Hawks decks that bubbled. So, Jet actually he got 28th. He lost round 8 to the finalist who was playing Porco. The second place is Porco. So that's just a
Yeah, I talked to him. Apparently, he just couldn't play the game that round.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw it.
And Jet, his deck list is my deck list from Toronto with the changes we talked about on the podcast. So he
Yeah,
is
they literally said
he is
that.
playing
Yeah,
he is
they literally
playing
said that.
he's maining 1 intense stare and siding 3 the fierce swings and is playing. He cut the pristine sword plays for the 3rd big fist bash and the 3rd feather sword slash. So that's sick. And then the other Hawks in 21st place with the, I believe, the same record. It was just 5-2-1. Who I guess like Jets was the true bubble. Jets is like if he won round 8 then he topped, right? Because he was X1 going or
Yeah, they
right?
were.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
I think
so,
they were winning in. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Austin was already X2-1 and then won round 8. So that was not necessarily on the bubble, but this is just almost the same deck. Like this is my deck from Toronto with like 2 cards different. Like it's playing Drowning in Resentment and League Invitation, and but yeah. So
we found the differences.
Yeah.
So
no, those were my deck in Toronto. Those were
I see.
Yes, the differences are maining 1 Mondo Gecko, sided Animus Shot, and added 1 Superfly Stomp. To the attack line. Oh, added 3 attacks to the attack lineup. Actually, added put in the 3rd Big Wiz Bash, third Feather Sword Slash, and added a Superfly Stomp. And then there were 3 Hawks that entered the event total, and then the other one was just playing my deck from Toronto card for card. I think it looks like it, unless my side deck was different, but I think this is the same thing.
Do you run Stomper?
No. The attack lineup is identical. The main deck is identical. I don't know if the side. I don't remember what my side deck was, but yeah. So
yeah.
But I just want to talk about the 2 Hawks decks on the bubble for my benefit. That I like that deck obviously. So and then there were the equipment heist decks. The 2 equipment heist decks that topped were Devil Jin, and 2 more bubbled, right?
Yeah. So this was kind of the new thing this event, right? I guess we can kind of just talk about this now. I sort of had obviously, I think it goes without saying, you look at Equipment Heist, you look at Devil Jin, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But for earlier on, I think people didn't touch it because haha, no block action in your 5-hander, something, like, we'll just play Hawks, he gets feathers. And then that kind of got optimized a good amount, also because you love Hawks, right? And then early in September, I just kind of put pen to the paper and made this, and people caught on real quick that it was like really, really good. And one of the benefits of these heist decks is Godzilla isn't particularly good at playing defense, especially early on. And if you can live through one of his turns, these heist decks are very good at producing the damage to just end the game against him.
Yes,
especially so with Devil Jin.
Yeah.
I was so happy when I got to play into Godzillas in this tournament. I turn 2'd several of them. I think that the Devil Jin in particular is kind of the natural predator to Godzilla in this format. And as a result, the third thing to come in here, because people were afraid of these heist decks, was the entrance of a lot of hate for heist. If you look at some of these Hanj decks, they're on I think Sam Pace's on 4 driven, 4 driven, like just a whole bunch of cards.
For the record, I explained, if you want to watch the last episode of the podcast, I explained how Hawks can beat driven by Retribution. Anyway, sorry. But forcing surrender, you're out of luck. That one's tough. So
yeah. But something really interesting about Devil Jin is he can beat those cards a little bit better. Because Goblin Bolt's a thing, and then Kraken can answer driven. So he has the tools to actually get around these hate pieces. However, the existence of these obviously makes Hawks have a tougher time. Like, you're going to play into one of these characters, and they're just going to have 8 sideboard pieces in their main deck, just because they're foundations that might have incidental synergy. Porco can kick things as forcing surrender naturally. Like, of course, he's going to run that card. Things like that. So, in terms of, the health of the metagame, I don't know, but you had this little ecosystem going on, right, of things sort of preying on each other here. And
so the other thing that I think is going to be maybe cyclical about this is what the benefit we identified from the Hawk stack was because all these cards are one diffs, he's not failing his turn, right? Like he's not failing his turn through Keiko's Aid, Airy Smiles. Like
Yeah.
it would take a lot, like borderline fictitious, like fantasy land combinations of like Breaker 8, to stop his turn just on checks. But disrupting Equipment Heist is the easier access. If Deviljin becomes the flavor of Equipment Heist, he is a five-hander who sometimes can be stopped by a saturation of these breakers and foundation blocking cards. So if we see a cycle of, okay, well, now Forcing Surrender sucks because Deviljin will just cancel it. Now we need X other different defensive tool. That's when a different Equipment Heist deck, well, Hawks, might have a better time against those. But I don't think we'll see a form. Like, there are not enough events, I think, in this game for that cycle to happen again. Like, I don't think we're going to have another event with this metagame where the adjustments will be made to counter Deviljin specifically instead of Hawk specifically. I just don't think that'll happen, but in theory, I guess it could.
Yeah, the other part of this is Deviljin, he doesn't need to find damage with Heist. He can, and that can very easily beat your life total, but the fact that he's getting stacking damage anyway means that he can get these pieces like Cerados to remove the camo off the top, or, immediately get an airship, and it's still a, 10 damage move, despite the fact that you got an airship on that one.
Yeah.
So the stats are easier, and then he can use these pieces to, like, essentially draw him the extra attacks that Hawks gets by nature of being Hawks. And then, like, the checks can kind of be an answer, but then there's also this. I think something that we identified fairly early on with like Deviljin is you can camp a Goblin Bolt in your card pool, recognize that their reset is an enhance or something, and stack massive mutant machines to the point that they can't block, trick, or interact with you at that point. And maybe use your response or zone check them with camo counter to like make sure that you get around a block trick earlier on or something like that. So overall, it's like a very potent package, especially if you happen to draw the Heist into 3 attacks. Like, very little survives it. It doesn't necessarily turn to people who are really trying to play defensively, but it definitely has that potential. And then, like, a lot of the decks right now are kind of either not really blocking because, again, VME made this a lot harder. That that not existing anymore means you play against a Godzilla and it's like, is it 4 highs? Is it 4 lows? Who knows, right? And Deviljin's the same way, where he can kind of zone checking and make.
Well, he can also change his zones too, right? Which is also like the like.
And that was a big thing too, where pre-VME you just obviously couldn't do that, and now it's like you can almost read your opponent when they can't block your your camo counter.
Well, yeah, like when they don't block a move, you go, oh, you don't have that. Like when they don't block a 9 damage move, you're like, guess they're all going low. Like I guess no low blocks.
Or like when the fearsome gets flipped with no momentum or something, you're like, okay, yeah, I know what's going on.
Yeah, so. For sure, yeah.
Mitch, I don't know if you had any thoughts on the regional or the meta. In terms of my run, this was the most turn 2 kills I've had in a tournament, and it's not even close. I had 8 turn 2 kills across my Swiss. In top 4, I don't think I turn 2'd. But I was also being a bit more cautious and not really full sending it on 2 foundations as much. This deck is kind of obscene in the amount of damage and stats output it gives off. I think this is like one of the number one things people are complaining about. Well, it and Porco. And it seems like teaming is the card of the, the flavor of the month thing to be really mad about right now. With the peppering of backup stuff that people have not liked for a while, and of course Godzilla.
Yeah, I think for my run at this tournament, it was like, it is crazy that one-shot Deku is like the 4th or 5th best thing to be doing. That's like kind of where I'm at.
I think it's because Godzilla makes it. I personally think that's just because its Godzilla matchup is so bad.
Yes,
and I think that is the deck that is gatekeeping it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's part of what makes it like weird for like a
It
ban list, and like
so
I don't envy
yes.
their position.
Yeah.
I
But
will say though, Mitch, like we played in Swiss. Did that feel good to you? Do you think that
no,
that is
not at
okay?
all. That's the
Okay.
thing. Like I also it was crazy. Like I shout outs to my opponent on my winning in words are really hard. Daniel, he was playing the what's it called? The Wubs list, but not like your actual list.
Sure.
He was
Yeah. Yeah.
playing Devilgen, to my knowledge. Um, well, not like to my knowledge, he was
He
playing that.
was.
Like
You
I
played
yeah,
against
it
him.
was
on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
table in
Like you
front of you.
played.
yeah, it was
He was your
there.
opponent. Yeah.
I was yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He was there. He was my opponent. That was
Yeah.
what he was playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think you came over at some point in game 3 and was like watching my last like string, and there was like you identified a line where he could have killed me, and I said I think if I had been playing against like Wub twice, I would have lost for sure. He played like very well the first 2 games, but like that third game there was like a crazy sequence at the end where like I had Genkai's, and I was like, well, if I'm like doing all of this crazy like Mitchell math, and like I forgot that his character was just committed. So I was like, well, he's got 1 card left in hand and he sides runaway, and if I don't use this Genkai's here, I think I can take exactly not lethal, and then I can hold Genkai's. So if the last card in his hand is an attack, I can eat it, and if it's not, and it's a runaway on my turn, I can first form Genkai's and then kill him. Meanwhile, his character's committed, so it didn't matter. Um, but like, yeah, it was not a particularly good matchup. I definitely played a handful of those like games in playtesting against Shree, who was also on Devil Jin for this event. And like it didn't feel as hopeless, but also you were like kind of the originator of this specific like iteration of the deck. So
Yeah.
like
Sure.
it was
It's
it should not have been close more frequently than it was, and I got fortunate that it was.
it's very easy. Um, to kind of you get a little bit of leeway with Deku because he's not killing you on 2 or 3 or sometimes
Mhm.
even 4 or 5, right? So you have that leeway to sort of set up and have a really crazy heist. Your setup cards are lows, so he flashing them is not great. You had to flash things like Camo Counter, which obviously is terrible for you.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
and also, if I want to force the flash, I can just throw something like a hybrid and just Chimera Kraken, sorry, and just immediately get the flash out of you because it just will, right? So I have
Mhm.
all those tools to kind of make you play on my terms, and I also decide when I pump things. I don't have to full send any move in particular, so it's very easy for me to bait out and force you to use all your defensive tricks, and none of them work that well, except for maybe
Right.
Goblin Bolt.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, no, there's like I think for better or for worse, we can kind of influence a lot in terms of like how loud or publicly we talk about like whatever thing. There's a very real world where I am not playing the best version of Deku because that character has infinity billion things going on,
Yeah, that
and
is
that
that
what
is
I am doing
something
is
that
not.
we've mentioned a couple of times. Is that like for sure one of the things that I dislike about Deku's place right now is you can build like we have made 5 different Deku decks, some of them even on the same symbols, and just not had enough time to flesh out all of them. But like there's a really
Yeah,
cool one that if someone out there wants to I mean, I say cool, like it's not that cool. Like if you resolve this, you win, and it's kind of lame. But it's like
The
there's a really cool one out there where like we were playing it on water with enamored, and you put a bunch of forms on your hang ten, then you flip it back to the front side of Deku, then you play hang ten, you get all of the re-readies of that, you keep all your enamoreds committed, then your first enhance for Deku is you commit for 3 speed, and then that hang 10 readies enamored, which then readies all of your enamoreds for +1 speed on hang 10 each time, and then you basically just re-ready every single thing and just have the biggest move you've ever seen, and you draw 9 cards. And like
yeah,
yeah.
we don't know if that one can survive long enough, to do that, but that was a concept that we had that was like, oh, enamored is a sick hang 10 card, and Deku's
yeah,
one of the few characters that can actually activate it. So for clarification, enamored says if it's ready during the enhanced step, so you can't just ready it with the hang 10 response on the flipped side stats, you need to flip back to front side and give it stats that way. But like
Mhm.
that is crazy. And we played like we built a deck with it and didn't like really play matches with it. But yeah, if someone out there's looking for something cool to tinker with, that's a really fun one, I think.
Yeah. But in this vein too, I will say for what it's worth, like I think the Let's Talk group and like Andrew Porat and Gavin sort of took my Devil Jin list and ran with it. The one I had sort of put up before that Rebby took to the case tournament. And they came to some different conclusions, and we still sort of disagree on some cards. So like, we're not necessarily right, you know. Like I think Cerados is really important. They don't think so. There's some like one diff differences, and they really like it's the chaos from AOT2 that's like end of your turn, respond, flip it, mill three, pick up one of those cards. It's like a way of filtering to heist and milling cards in your discard, stuff like that. So like, I get what you're saying, Mitch, for sure. And I know that you love to say that I'm like a really great deck builder, blah blah blah. Like,
I
I
do love to
appreciate
do
it,
that.
but
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying that like we do have that power to influence stuff, and sometimes maybe we're not making the necessarily best choices with these things.
Yeah, because like a lot of it boils down to, and like going into this event, I gave it an honest effort to just block, right? Like we've spent about 2 hours trying to build a Deku deck that can function staying on the front side for longer
Yeah.
with the only express intent of like having a better Godzilla matchup. And then we played Godzilla with Barlow, who does not play Godzilla very frequently, checking, I think, a combined 14 threes.
There's more.
And I died anyway and never put up a meaningful amount of offense that would have even pressured him slightly.
Well, this was after getting pancaked for a few games. Then this game happened, and that
Then
was
this
like the
game
turning
happened. Yeah,
point
that was
when
the
he
turning point.
literally checked like every three pos under the sun, like an insane number.
Yes. Yeah, it
And
was
that was your breaking
wild.
point.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm just gonna go back to doing whatever because it's just because like a lot of it is like I just play this character a lot and I like doing this thing a lot and I know what everything else is doing that I am playing into. So I go, cool, these are the things that can stop me. This is what I have to play to. And I know my math and my reach more than my opponents do because they're not doing this testing. They're not like playing my specific iteration, or if they are, they're like going, yeah, okay, well, I have answers to that. It's fine. And like everyone knows you disrespect the offense on like turn two, you hit me as hard as you can for the first 2 or 3 turns and then count in intervals of three, right? Like
Mhm.
that's fine. But like I do that math faster. I've just played the deck more. And like I'm getting rewarded for my reps, but I am playing something that somehow, despite what it is able to put on the table, is not as good as everything else at the top end. I'm just I just do it more consistently, right? So like that's
Yeah,
fine. I think in terms of the format, they've said it before. Their stance is that turn twos are bad. There are two decks that turn two with relative ease and consistency. Both of them play teaming with the attack titan as their only like real commonality. I'd start there. I
sure.
don't know
So
how
I,
much else
I,
needs to
I will
change, but
say that what you're referring to on the turn two thing, I looked back because I remembered hearing that too. It's a snippet on the risky encounter ban list in November 1st of last year or something. That is not a standard that they've necessarily held to. It is kind of a community agreed upon thing that like was mentioned in one article.
mhm.
So I don't want to necessarily put words in their mouth and have them say like, yeah, we totally never want games ending that early, even though like from our perspective the gameplay obviously feels terrible, right? You don't get to draw a second
Mhm.
hand
You
before dying.
would
Yeah.
hope that they would want the gameplay
I
not to
agree. I agree.
consistently,
But
but yeah.
clearly the deck that I made is doing that,
Well,
and it's
yes,
pretty damn good at it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I understand the sentiment with teaming and stuff.
I do think
Um,
there needs to be some more context. I personally feel like when two aggro decks queue into each other, I actually finished a year thing, and I want to pivot this into also going first and going second because I think that's a
sure.
discussion that needs to happen, and I'm tired of listening to what people are saying about it. To be honest,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
please finish, and
Um,
I'll
yeah, I'm gonna be the old man yelling at the cloud
yeah
about
yeah
other turn two things.
go for it.
I'm like the only person who screams about Titan Pile ever since I got
I know.
deleted by it in
No,
Louisville.
Titan Pile
Actually,
is
no, it was
obnoxious.
before that. It was a locals in September of last year when I was trying to make Ymir good, and someone who had never played the game before and showed up playing AOT2 commons put 5 high 12s on the table, and I was like, oh, it does do that. I'm just dead. I've always thought that card was crazy, and then it started showing up in competitive stuff. I'm like, dang it, my
You lean
old
forward.
card
lean in
that
your
killed
chair.
killed me in locals is now appearing in tournaments. Oh
Aha! Yeah.
no. Yeah. So I understand the sentiment, like teaming is like the culprit for letting these like cheap attacks happen. Obviously, it's a very free card, right? It's pretty egregious in these decks that like pick it up and use it again. And like the Heist Devilgent is picking it up. We're putting it in from discard and then air shipping it to hand. So that we draw a teaming even when we don't naturally have one. Sometimes we'll stomp send it to do that. And Porco obviously like is mighty blitzing and then picking up and playing multiple of them and chaining it. But there are a lot of other tools that are enabling these like kind of turn two things. I know like smiling is one that hasn't really done well, but it's like definitely something that people have noticed is that you can build 9 Titans and then play the 9 diff on turn 2 and it's a 12 mid 26 and like that.
Mhm.
Huh?
It's not
I'm
game
sorry.
unless you're a 7-hander, but
Yeah.
if you're a 7-hander, it is game. Um, so there are a number of tools, and I think that the pace of the format has certainly accelerated to the point that we're like a lot of things can do that turn two thing. Hawk certainly can, right, Ryan? Like
He
you
can,
find
yeah. I
the
did
heist
it,
stand,
yeah.
you can do 30
I didn't.
plus, no
I
problem.
definitely didn't do it as often as you probably did, but it's
Yeah.
like because generally speaking, the only not 100% of the time, but I mean this was true even in the old Hawks deck. If you pick up 2 feathers turn one, it's not that hard, but that's a lot. Like milling 2 feathers in
Oh,
your
sure,
top
yeah.
10 is like less than 10%, or drawing or milling them. Like having 2 feathers being in your top, 15 cards is not that often. So, but that's
Yeah.
usually when it gets like, because even in the old deck, it was like, oh, I drew double jumbo fist and focus attack and picked up 2 feathers. Oh well, you're at 0 life now. Actually, sorry, like I didn't mean to, but
I mean, looking at the top 16, I think there's exactly 3 decks here that aren't really capable of a turn 2, and that's Justin Martin's Zeke list, which is a turn 3 consistent combo deck. It wants to flip and kill you on 3. It can't flip on, it can't kill you the turn it flips necessarily because you want to build a second time. And then Phil Birch and you, Mitch. Everyone else has either City Rampage stuff, uh, teaming looping stuff, or like Titan Pile. So all of them have that capability. I actually didn't check if they're all in Titan Pile, but the Hanges I assume are doing it.
and okay. So I do want to talk about the difference between capable of turn twoing and like consistently turn twoing, because
Yeah.
and also the differences of decks involved, whatever. If you play a Porco Mirror and someone gets turn two'd, cry me a river. I don't know, man. Like you made the deck.
Yes.
Like like I don't know. Like that was your choice to
Yep.
but obviously if you're playing mirrors of these more control decks, or even if just a deck that is making very active decisions to put multiple defensive cards in their deck and are seeing their defensive pieces, like I got turn two'd at Albuquerque. I got turn two'd by Zilla when I Big Fist Bash Breaker 3'd them. And I was just Big Fist Bash Breaker 3'd them and Hawks Enhance to make an attack for basically 1 damage. So I Breaker 3'd and blanked an attack and got turn two'd anyway. And that's when I look at it and go like, that probably shouldn't happen.
10 times 3 is 30.
You know?
Just need 3 more.
Like, yeah. So that's wild, right? When that happens.
I think
when you build a character who doesn't block, when you sit down and you go, I'm not going to block because X reason. I have 34 health. I don't need to block. And they turn to you. You're not allowed to Pikachu face. I can't believe they did 33 damage. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like when you block twice and still die on turn 2, it usually means they threw 7 attacks or 6 attacks turn 2. That probably shouldn't be happening. Like that's probably too many.
This was I think the one that I told people about because it was so crazy. I did turn to a Smiling who built I think it was Keiko's Aid, always cooled double Dark Ward and blocked, and always cooled one of my moves, and they
Yeah,
still died.
that's not okay.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
one where it's
I
like
agree.
that shouldn't be happening. Yeah. No, I agree
That
with
was
you.
one where
Yes.
I came out of it going, "Huh, that probably was a bit much."
Yes. Yes. Like if you say I turn to Porco, I go who cares? Like nothing
Sure,
nothing we can
yeah.
do about that, you know? Like he but yes, for that one like yes, I do agree. That's where it gets crazy. Where like where because when the deck's making active defensive like decisions are still dying on turn 2, why would you ever play those decks? You're just gonna play if you're gonna die on turn 2 anyway, just play the aggro deck that can turn 2 your opponent. And then we're not playing the game anymore. Now we are playing who won the die roll and turn 2 first. Because both of our decks, that's all they do. So I want to talk about the die roll going first, going second thing, because now, 2 events in a row, the bottom seed has won the tournament. And I've seen people be like, is going second better than going first now? No, it's not. Going second is not better than going first. It just it just means that the gap between going first and going second was never as large as people like to exaggerate. I think a lot of people in every card game ever love to just go going first is game, going first is 80% win rate. It's probably not most of the time. There have been times where it is. When you're in the hypothetical meta I just described of, well, if the defensive decks can't win by blocking anyway, why block? Just turn to them. Then yes, going first is game. But as we are now, for the most part, when not every deck is just trying to turn to your opponent, going first and going second is not as crazy. I also want to look at the decks that had success going second. Rodan, very defensive deck. I'm pretty sure Phil milled out his opponent in the finals, right? Like, isn't that what happened?
He could have, but he just killed him instead.
Sure, yeah. Like
he just killed him.
Like,
yeah, it was like so the finals, the third game of the finals, Jorge built 2 Marley's Warriors and had 2 pretty good strings, but Phil drew Genkai's both turns. I should say, to be fair, Phil's draws were atrocious.
I did hear that.
Genkai's to like 2 cards,
yes.
and then drew a hand of actions and attacks, and played an attack check for 3.
Also, he
like,
checked,
it was like
he checked
really bad.
so many attacks.
But basically, Phil was able to live with Rodan's Enhance and Genkai's through 2. I don't want to say above average Porco turns, but they were Marley's Warrior turns, so like they were strong.
Yes.
And then from there was able to stabilize. Porco drew teaming in 6 foundations, which that can happen, right? Like you're running an 8 diff, and sometimes it is just an 8 diff. And from there, Phil eventually like turned the corner.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's just like Phil was not at an advantage for going second, and I think it's ridiculous to imply as such. Like I think it is ridiculous, like actually ridiculous, to look at that and say going second is an advantage. He won because he went second. That is insanity, and I just want to end that conversation now before we.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What it does mean is that the difference between going first and going second is smaller, and that is a good thing. Now, so Rodan, very defensive deck, and I felt this way with Hawks too, where going second with Hawks, I have never once in my life lost the roll as Hawks and gone, ugh, like I can't believe I lost the roll. Hawks has a lot of tools to go second. If you just draw a feather and then review it, you might actually be at an advantage. Going second with Hawks, reviewing a feather, drawing your extra and picking up a feather and having 8 cards in hand actually might be an advantage. Like actually. So that is also one, but that's a unique experience. Obviously, they bring characters like Ymir that have play going second. Who else? Momo 3 had some play going second for a little while. Then they eroded how the game works.
Devilgen Response is not nothing.
Yes,
right?
for sure. Yes, that too. Yeah. Yes, a decent number of characters have some abilities going second that can help them out. Where I can see the disparity of going first and going second shortening. Obviously, in the aggro mirror, like in the Porco mirror, going first versus going second is going to be huge. I'm not discounting that. Now, the other one, Toronto. Godzilla, despite how good he is as an aggro deck going first, Godzilla's form is the best going second tool of any character in the entire game. you just get to choose. Actually, even though I lost the roll, I'm going first this game. We're both starting over.
Yeah.
And if
Run
you
it back.
draw it with what's it called? Short-lived promotion? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
If you have short-lived promotion, you just get to build 3 when you first form. And I think
Insane
that
tool for
is
a heist
like,
deck, by the way. Devil
yes,
Jin getting access.
yes,
with
that
heist
one
is
too.
crazy.
Yes, that one's also too. So short-lived promotion in Godzilla, getting to first form and build 3 versus 2 is huge, 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 huge. And that's where it's like, oh, Godzilla went second in Top Cut. Well, he probably first formed a couple times. Like in the finals, we saw he didn't because there was no need to. Like we can, we talked about that in greater detail last time, but he was never pressured to blow up the board. Like his opponent never built. He was at a foundation advantage for the entire game, even going second. Why would he blow up the board? But in the games where he fall behind, in the games where Godzilla falls behind in foundations, it is an aggro deck where if you draw a dead hand, instead of just build passing and getting overrun because you don't have any defensive tools, it's an aggro deck where if you draw a dead hand, you just flip the table over.
Yeah, you just go,
like a toddler. And just start over. And just start over, right? And that is a crazy going second tool. And to Calvin's credit, I know that, we love making fun of Calvin sometimes. He is probably of all the Godzilla players I've ever seen, he is the only one that I think 100% of the time correctly assesses when you are supposed to form. 100% of the time. I've never seen him do it wrong even one time.
It's his superpower.
That is literally, and that is huge. That is a huge thing that I've seen him do that unironically I think sets him apart from every other Godzilla opponent I've ever played against and every Godzilla opponent I've ever seen play, is he knows exactly when to use that form. And it pays off very often. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but it pays off very often. And that is a huge tool that Godzilla has going second. So, as far as is going second better than going first? No. Is the game maybe moving towards there are more tools to win going second versus going first? Yes, possibly. But yeah,
character dependent as well. But yeah.
Character dependent, yes, for sure. And Hanj starts the game with cards in play. Like that's similar type deal, right? So
yeah, Hanj is a very I want to say smooth gameplay experience because you get those freebies on your build like so easily, and it's you can never like brick that badly in that character on the first turn.
Yeah,
which is just crazy.
Okay, so I think we've covered the metagame. Final thing about, I guess I want to talk about the list. There were no changes today. The reasoning for that was they want to analyze the meta a little bit more. They have some data from all the regionals. They want to look at stuff coming out, yada, yada, yada. I agree with all that. I think having a list today, probably in hindsight now, thinking about it more, putting any changes today probably would have been a mistake. Because if you do a list this week, it means you probably aren't doing one next month because nothing has changed, right? So I do think it is in everyone's benefit there are no tournaments this month. So I think it is. I mean, sure, there are LCs or whatever.
Tournaments.
No official tournaments. Sure, there are no tournaments. Anyways, so I'm going to say like, it makes sense to take your time and have a list next month. Now, this is the second time, as I mentioned this earlier. This is the second time there has been a banned and errata list scheduled for either the day before, or the week before, or the day after a regional. And there be no changes because basically there can't be. As I explained earlier, I think it is a huge mistake to have cards get banned the week of an event when it does not go into effect because it puts everybody in an awkward spot. Nobody wants to play because why would I even want to play this? All the cards are banned. Like you lose to a card that's already banned and you get upset, right? like it's a negative play experience.
Yes, yeah.
And then the event coverage team is in a weird spot because this is a minor thing, but like, how do you talk about and analyze a game of cards that are not allowed to be played tomorrow? How do you talk about a finals on Sunday and check here watch and go, well, in 5 hours, that card is banned?
Yeah.
how do you make that interesting? How do you make that hype? Like, it's just the chat will just be, why is this card legal? I thought it was banned, etc., etc. So I get that. This one, again, they have not had time to really start working on what they think needs to be changed after looking at the events. I also think it is important to not just have a knee jerk ban the cards that won. I think you really, really, really need to look at what are the repercussions of banning certain cards. Something that we talked about was, we do think Deku is a ridiculous character. Deku is obviously also a strong character. Unfortunately, Mitch, it's getting really close to Hawks territory for you and Deku, where now there have been 2 events where you've been the only Deku who topped.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you know what?
it's getting close.
We've been here before.
Yeah.
We have been here before. This
Yeah.
is just Staff Strike Jiro, and this time I won't waver. I will
Yeah.
just keep playing it. It's fine.
Yeah. So, and we did talk about how we do think that Deku is a ridiculous character, but it is probably gatekept by how atrocious we think the Godzilla matchup is. If something happens and something changes to Godzilla, does that make Deku too strong? I don't know. I haven't really thought about the greater implications of that. There are so many things that can and will change. Like, if one, and I think it actually is a, if we can take a step back to what we talked about earlier, I think the May ban and errata list made the game worse. I think it hit all of the counters to the deck that was the least fun to play against. The Nick Reagan deck was the least fun deck to sit across from, and it was extremely powerful. I'm not here to say definitively it was the absolute best Tier 0 deck, because obviously it did not win every event. But banning VME and errating Deviljin, I think, made the play experience of Universes worse, because it made the deck that was the least fun to play against significantly stronger. And I want more time to be taken on this one, so something like that doesn't happen again. And I'm all for it, I guess. So
yeah, ultimately, I'm happy. I'm happy now. My knee-jerk reaction and a comment I made on the Facebook page was, no one who makes decisions at this company plays this game currently, which was probably not true. And probably a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
Oh, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, wow. And then I thought about it more, and I'm like, okay, I read it. I was like, all right, if November has no changes, then the floodgates are open. Like, it's,
if November has no changes,
yell all you want. you know, like, it's okay.
Yeah, but I did post that too preemptively, and I apologize for that.
I think people had a lot of play experiences they didn't enjoy over the weekend, or saw them on stream and felt pretty strongly about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I said.
That was just public venting.
I think the article
that is my bad.
Needed to be, it's pretty clear, but I think maybe it needed to be a little bit more forceful on like, the November list will be a serious one. Like we are not, like, it should have really specified, we are not saying no changes because we think everything is perfect and the sun is shining. We are saying no changes because we really want to get this one right. And we have, for once this year, for the first time this year, we have the luxury of time to really analyze it and do our best. And I wish that had been something that was more clearly conveyed, but I do, or at least, like, I think it would have been to the benefit of the people who are upset if that was more clearly conveyed. But I do think that is that's what's appears to be happening. So way back at the beginning of this, I said I want to talk about the scheduling of the ban list. I think it is time to get rid of de facto first Tuesday of the month. I think that doesn't work. And I think my solution would be, when the event schedule goes up and the event dates are finalized, you have scheduled ban list updates 2 weeks after the events, or a week after the event, and before the next wave of events. So, for example, when the schedule went up and we saw, there was no event in like June or whatever. Like, I don't think we need a no changes list in June or a no changes list in August or whatever. Like, we don't need all these all these lists scheduled where we know it's impossible for there to be a change. Like it was impossible for September 3rd to have a change, in my opinion. Literally impossible.
Mhm.
That one
Yeah.
doesn't need to be on the calendar. That one doesn't need to be on the calendar just to make people mad when there's no changes. You can just look at the schedule when the event schedule is posted and go, okay, we are not going to have an announcement on September 3rd that there are no changes because there's an event on January 6th. Maybe we can move that to September 17th or whatever. And if there needs to be something addressed, then we can address it then. I just think that having it de facto monthly on Tuesday doesn't make sense and is just feeding into this. They don't do anything. Like we've had no changes for 4 months in a row now, or whatever. And that just doesn't need to be the case. Like this is the optics on this, in my opinion, are very easily avoidable. And it can even be something like you don't have a set schedule monthly ahead of time. When you post the November list, you can say the next B&E announcement, like you post it on what, November 4th? On November 4th, you can go, the next list will be posted on December 9th. Like you,
Yeah.
right? Like that could be something. If not guaranteeing there will be one, but if there needs to be one, we're not gonna put it right after the event. We're gonna get a little bit of time to breathe and look at how the format is developing, instead of having them scheduled 3 days after a tournament or a week before a tournament. And I just think that's probably going to have the highest success rate, in my opinion, of things changing when they need to actually be changed.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I know we. I mean, Mitch, do you have anything else on this format or ban
No,
list? Because
not really.
I know it's been a bit, but the Guilty Gear characters did also all come out. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I would
I
love to.
I
I'd love to do
also
that.
like I was thinking about we did talk for this about or we did talk about this for a while and
I mean, we talked
if
about the
you made it this
entire
far-
year of the game.
Yeah.
I think we talked about a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. we did talk about a lot. I guess our preface to this was wrong. We weren't going to do a brief discussion about the ban list. We were talking about ban lists plural and the formats plural leading up to now for like a more all-encompassing view on it, and I think I'm happy with that. We
I
do.
think
This
it's
is
good to have that
probably
perspective, right? Because I think people are like as we pointed out, it's just they're mad every month. So like I think it is necessary to kind of like take that step back, think about it.
yeah, exactly. And like on top of that, it is a lot of the time. We have the shiny new toy syndrome for like new sets that come out with like characters and like what people play, and we also kind of have that like same veneer on like the most recent format or whatever. But it's good to sometimes just take a look back at like this.
So
But
my yeah, sorry, finish up.
I was gonna say that being said, we do have actually a lot more to talk about
Yes.
on this episode, so this might be a little bit of a longer one.
That's fine.
Because
I'm
not
not even
only
done with
yeah, I was
this
gonna say not
topic.
only yeah, but I was gonna say Ryan sounds like has more to say, and then on top of that, we still have like all the Guilty Gear stuff to talk about, and the roadmap got announced at Atlanta. So
Oh, I
we have
forgot about
those.
that. Oh, we
Yep.
can talk about that
Yeah,
too.
literally,
Yeah.
I
That'll be
was
brief,
like, I
probably
was
though. That'll probably be not
yes,
that long.
yeah.
but
I went to look at my comment on the Facebook post or whatever, and then I saw the roadmap post, and I was like, oh. So if you've made it to this point in time in the podcast, feel free to pause and grab like a snack or a water, and then we'll continue on from there.
Yeah. All right. So, what I was gonna say about my thing is, when looking back at all the decks that I've won this year, Rodan has now won the first event of the year and the most recent event of the year. Godzilla has been the Godzilla Challenger decks, I believe, have been the most reoccurring characters in Top Cut through every region. I am tired of it. I'm truly tired of this. I I don't know. If I might caught my sigh on that one, but like it was a
I'm
very,
I'm
it was a
tired of this
very
grandpa.
defeated sigh. It was just like
Yeah.
I I'm tired of City Rampage. I'm tired of the Godzilla characters. Just I because they don't rotate for another year, and there is a Godzilla set that surely will have cards that will just make them better. And
Mhm.
I'm just tired of it. And I'm not saying every single one of these characters needs to be nuked into the ground. I don't think that. I actually don't even think, despite King Ghidorah winning an event this year, I actually don't even think King Ghidorah is in that bad of a spot. I don't even necessarily think Rodan is in that bad of a spot. I think just the craziest thing about Rodan is just incidentally his symbols give him literally everything, kind of like Deku. Like, kind of like how I feel about Deku. It's just like, he gets literally everything. It's like when I just look at the Rodan deck, I'm like, this is already one of the characters that is like a very, very strong character. And then it's just violent anime shot repeated 100, rising uppercut, sweeping daggers, world's weakest hunter, rejuvenating smash. And I'm like, these are the most broken cards ever.
Okay,
Like,
repeated 100 didn't have a punch printed in
sure,
know,
no, yeah, no,
15
sure,
months. So
no,
we'll
I
cut
agree.
that one a break. But
That
you know,
one, that one,
agree.
I will cut that one some slack. But it's just like when I just look at these and I'm just like, God, I'm just so tired of seeing these. And again, Rodan is again like, and it's not even. It's not that every single time my opponent flips Rodan, I go, oh my God, you meta sheep Rodan. It's just like I'm just.
Aren't you bored, man?
Yeah, I'm just like, yes. Again, this is coming from the guy that's one trick Hawks for 18 months. Soon we'll be not doing that because they'll rotate it, right? So I have to grow up eventually. But
Kai one trick.
and then I'll be the Kai one trick, of course. Yeah, but it's just like I guess like, man, I'm so tired of City Rampage. Sorry, I'm gonna say that one twice.
Yeah. So Rodan feels like he filled the spot that the hole where Eraser was, right?
Yes.
Like there's a lot of similarities there in the 7-hand void control thing. With each of them having their own unique edges, whatever. But that feels like a space where like a deck like that should exist. I don't really understand what Rampage is providing to us. Like, is it just like this dream of playing all these big moves that shouldn't be passable at once? Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
It's also like anyone complaining about Heist should be complaining about City Rampage 10 times more because it's been doing the same thing for far longer and requires less setup. And even if the numbers don't get as big, you die anyway most of the time. And like, what? I don't know, man. So, I guess I'm just so traumatized from City Rampage. Not even like because what I also but it's not even just that. It's just like, again, last year when I was playing the Focus Attack Hawks deck, Godzilla was the buy. Like when I played against Gods, just based on the deck construction of these decks, the Hawks deck was better and the Godzilla deck was worse. Godzilla was the literal buy. I do not think I lost to a single Godzilla in the entire last year of competitive play. Like last year, I do not think I lost to Godzilla a single time. And not just because like, oh, Godzilla was terrible. It's just like Godzilla is a pretty linear character, and there were limitations to his ability, right? Like there if you block, he doesn't get momentum. So therefore, he has to stop. That's not true anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has so many tools now to just get free momentum that it trivializes his ability. And it's like, when he high rolls, you can't do anything, and it feels bad. And when he low rolls, they can't do anything, and it feels bad. Like, when they check a 3 on City Rampage and then play an attack and check a 3, that feels terrible for them. I don't feel like I earned that win. I feel like my opponent just, by design of the character, this character is good. This character has topped many. This character might be the character that has the most tops this year. So to say it's a bad character and just a high roll character, I also think is very dismissive. This is a good character. When my opponent goes City Rampage check a 3, Titan Cliff check a 3, and they put 4 cards sideways, that's not on them for being bad. Like that's just the design of the character that is by and large the most successful character in the game, has these valleys that I think other characters don't have, and has these peaks other characters don't have, and the variance associated with it is very frustrating for both sides.
I
And
think a point of the
that's like
variance that really matters too is the board wipe and the inability to
right.
control what you
So
like draw.
so
So
my proposed errata for Godzilla is actually probably completely different from what anyone else would even say. And I don't know if I'm just crazy or just because of this is how literally every single of my losses from Godzilla occur, that they've just like stuck with me. But the problem I have with Godzilla is very, very, very similar to the problem I had with Bertolt 2. And I'm sure when we're talking about the first form for Godzilla, I'm sure a lot of people listening might have even had the thought of my Godzilla opponents never first form. And yes, I think the people, I'm going to say it, this might offend people. I think if you do not use your first form of Godzilla ever, I think you are playing the character wrong. I think if you do not pick spots to be first forming, you are playing the character wrong, full stop. And I think truly maybe the only big skill diff of Godzilla is picking your spot to first form. And the skill diff of playing against Godzilla is playing around his first form to the best of your ability. And I think 10 is far too few for the first form to be active. Because if Godzilla builds wide, you have to build wide to catch up, or they will pass all their attacks and kill you. And no, they're not just going to not draw attacks. Titan Cliff draws 3. 12 of their foundations draw a card. That's not a viable strategy of just saying they won't draw attacks. If they have 10 foundations, they're going to play 5 attacks on you. That's going to happen almost every time. And again, I'm tired of people saying they don't always draw that many attacks, or like, well, he drew a lot of attacks. Like, that's not likely. It just is. Like, you draw so many cards in this game. It just is. So when playing against Bertolt, one of the big problems the control decks had against Bertolt 2 was, how can you possibly defend against Bertolt while keeping yourself under the foundation limit? It was really, really, really hard, borderline impossible. Godzilla feels very much the same way. I'm going to say, again, asterisk, when played at the highest level, right? If Godzilla goes first and builds 4, and then you go first, and then you build 4, that they only one person has to build, and then the first form is live. If they draw attacks and you block them, you are basically not allowed to build, because if you build, they can just first form and do it again. If you drew defensive tools, they first form, now all your defensive tools are gone, and if you don't redraw your defensive tools right then and there, they'll just try to kill you next time. And if they have a momentum, their foundations don't matter. Because even if they check a 3 on their first attack, they tap their foundations, and now they're just going to +2 their check or more for every card they play for the rest of the turn. It does not matter. And, like, I just think, truly, if the first form had a higher limit, and you were allowed to actually play a more deliberate defensive game against Godzilla, I think almost all of my issues with the character design would be gone. I actually don't have that much of a problem with with the stats. I don't really have that much of a problem with the enhance, assuming the momentum is toned down a tiny bit. When you can just generate a momentum every single attack, obviously that's a problem. But I think if the first form was like playable if there are 15 or more foundations in all stages. 15
maybe
might 15 might even be too. Oh, if your opponent has 10, would be my perfect errata to Godzilla. Would be like if Godzilla's form was similar to Bertolt, would be an anti-deadlock like break tool of like if a player goes to deadlock, Bertolt can flip. I think that's fine. If Godzilla was the same, if a player goes to deadlock, you can first form. 10 or more in all stages is crazy. There just have been times where you look at your hand, and if you play an attack and check a 3, and then like you draw your hand of 3 foundations to 3 attacks, and you both have 4, right? This is I'm going to say this is going to sound like a very specific situation. This happens every single game. This happens every single game of Universities. You 4 build, your opponent 4 builds. Sorry, that's 90% of games. Okay, I drew my hand. 3 attacks, 3 foundations. I had 2 attacks, like I had 2 attacks and I reviewed 1 or whatever, or 2 attacks and 4 foundations. What do? Do you play an attack and check a 3, and now you have to build, and then if they draw a hot hand, they kill you because you checked a 3? Or do you build, you keep all your attacks in your hand, they go, blow up the board, build, you now have 3 attacks, you review 1, you draw your hand, you drew 2 foundations. Like, that sounds oddly specific, but I promise you it happens if you're a 6-hander, or God forbid if you're a 5-hander, that happens every game. If you're a 6-hander, like that happens quite frequently. If you try to push and you don't kill them, you tap yourself out and they kill you. If you try to build, they first form and wipe the board. If your Godzilla opponents never first form you, then I'm envious. Yes, if Godzilla didn't have the first form, I actually think he would be unplayably bad. That is like how far I'm getting on this. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about Godzilla for 10 minutes. I just needed to get every single. I needed to get every single facet of just like the first form.
This is the man with probably the most reps into Godzilla.
The first form adds so, and I'm going to say also, again, when Calvin and I play, I probably have a positive win rate also. Like, I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games against him, and it's not like my win rate is not. I don't lose every game. I don't just throw my hands up in the air and go, oh my god, I can't win. It's like we have very competitive games. It's just so more than any other character, a loss is out of someone's control, and that's what feels bad. Is more than any other matchup in the game, or more than any other character in the game, when someone loses, like it is completely out of someone's control. Calvin, we're first form. I will draw all attacks. I'll just go, oh, I guess I lose. Or he will play City Rampage, check a 3, play an attack, check a 3. That was the only way his hand could have possibly been played. And like he goes, I guess I lose, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, it's just I'm just and again, this gameplay loop has been constant for 18 months. The gameplay loop of Godzilla has not changed. Some of the cards have shuffled around, but this is how he's played for the entire time. Rodan has played the same way for the entire time. Ghidorah has played the same way for the entire time. Again, Ghidorah, I'm whatever. I think it's also just because nobody cares enough to play Ghidorah anymore, really. Like, Ghidorah's not a popular character because he's a little slow and not everyone likes that. But I think if we saw more people playing Ghidorah, then people would have the same, not outrage, but the same, like, distaste for Ghidorah that they do for the other ones. But I definitely think, again, a lot of the people, like, I guess it's like, whenever we have thoughts about these characters or about these interactions in game, obviously, I could write 10 paragraphs about every micro interaction. I'm shorthanding it. If I go, he drew 2 highs and 2 lows and I died, there is much, 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 much more to that thought. But I can't type everything out, or I can't, get every thought out. And when the response is just block them, I don't, similarly, I'm sure there's more on that end too.
Well,
just block. But
Phil won Atlanta.
Phil won Atlanta. Phil won Atlanta with Genkai's. Genkai's doesn't block. Genkai's the opposite of blocking. Anyways.
No, he blocked a lot.
He did. Probably, yeah. That's probably true. Probably did block a lot.
Held out Botans for 4 turns until he blocked the besiege with it.
Yes. So
he's aware of that card.
Yeah, yes, as you should.
That's nice.
So my Godzilla errata has nothing to do with the momentum, nothing to do with the damage. It is the form. If the form is less powerful and you can actually play a consistent defensive strategy without getting board wiped and just Yahtzeed, like you just draw your hand, all attacks I lose. Like,
yes, yeah.
And this is this can happen with decks with low attack counts too. It's not just like I don't know. Anyways, it's just like that is my problem. I think my main problem with Godzilla is the threat of the first form. If you play into it and they nuke the board, you lose. If you try to play around it and they just go, oh, I drew attacks, now you didn't build defensive tools and you lose. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And I think I would say, yes, your rival has 10 in their stage, or maybe 15 total. Like 15 or more foundations in all stages combined. Because I think it's a very, very, very common gameplay of go first, build, Godzilla builds. On your second turn, if you build, Godzilla can just form, and now they went first. And that's
Right.
like, they went first, and you didn't get to mulligan. You're stuck with whatever attacks were in your hand. Or they just kill you, as I said. Remember, the big or is they just kill
There's
you.
two options.
Yes.
Yeah. If you play cautiously around the wipe, you could be short resources on defense.
And then just die. So, anyways, okay, great. That's my Godzilla thing. I probably said the same thing at least 3 times, but I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page there. Of just that one. So that is my proposed Godzilla errata. Nothing to do with anything other than the first form. And my precedent will be Bertolt. Because they increase the foundations required for Bertolts. 10 in both stages combined is laughable. Is laughably low.
I guess guilty gear?
Yes. Sorry. That's it. I'm done now. Yes.
I mean, I guess like City, for the record, like I'm not a fan of City Rampage. I know people like will say it's it's not great in X characters or like -1 hand size, haha. But like I just feel like it kind of breaks the rules of the game in terms of.
It also just keeps topping. It just keeps It's like I don't.
If you look at my top 8 match, I want to say against EJ, there's a turn where he goes rampage, and at that moment, I literally in my head was like, his hand is just vomited on the table. Nothing matters.
Yeah.
Like literally, he cannot fail a check at this point. He'll at some point get a momentum. Like everything passes forever. And sure, that might only be 4 attacks, but haha, there's a lot of easy draw power. Like it's pretty easy for it to be something else and filter with Titan Cliff, and it just becomes this.
When Titan Cliff draws, will Walk the Dog draws. When all your foundations draw, even Travis with Christo was playing City Rampage. Because of how Christo works, this is a little bit more of a combo.
Running 8s.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a little bit more of a combo deck than just Godzilla, but it's not like... This City Rampage Christo deck isn't that much more honest than a Godzilla deck. Like, it might not even be. It might be more dishonest.
He definitely came to me during the tournament.
It might be more dishonest.
If you were here, I'm sure he'd be talking about it, but like, he was just like, yeah, I just stacked running 8s, and like, I don't remember if he said turn 2, but it was crazy stuff, right? Like, he just got a bunch of counters through don't do this or whatever, and City Rampage is just like, yep, on an 8 checks, on a 9 commit 1, on a 10 commit 2, like, sure, man. I guess.
Okay.
And you don't run out of cards because you're Krista with Wall Maria's, right? So
yeah, that works.
Yes.
Yep.
Pony can play City Rampage too. I don't think this pony did. The Mimic that topped OCE, I'm pretty sure was City Rampage, right?
The Louisville Mimic was City Rampage.
Incredible.
I don't know about OC. Yeah.
And again,
it's kind of an obnoxious card.
Yes, the fact that they've eroded combined firepower leads me to believe there's some willingness to errata City Rampage, but for City Rampage, I have no idea what I even think the errata could or would be, other than like spend a momentum cost. Because isn't that what the old one? Isn't there an old card that's like the same thing?
Is it reprogramming?
I think it's reprogramming. First form, discard a momentum. For the rest of this turn, your attacks get +2 to checks to play them and +X damage. X equals the number of printed resource symbols that attack shares with your character. Yes.
I'm gonna assume that this card was not very good, but yeah, it looks like it was.
Probably wouldn't have been. I don't know, or it was okay. Yeah. Like this is not like City Rampage is 100 times better than this card, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, and City Rampage is also not a first form, which maybe that could be like. I don't think slapping first form on City Rampage fixes it by any means.
No, it doesn't.
But it's like double City Rampage turns are disgusting, and they happen also. But that doesn't fix the card. Like, it definitely should have had first form on it, but it does not fix the card to add first form to that card. Like, that's not what makes,
right.
That doesn't make it a perfectly balanced card. But anyways.
Right.
All right. So now that I'm done Doom posting, I did my best to not Doom post for an hour and a half. Now I had about 15 minutes of just banging the wall. Now I'm
And then we
Now
get
we
to
can go to
talk
Guilty
about
Gear.
Ready to be happy now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about all the guilty
Oh
speaking of
gear.
God, we
happy,
love Guilty
Happy
Gear.
Chaos.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
we
Woo,
love
Happy
Guilty Gear.
Chaos.
Okay,
Guilty Gear
so
is sick.
so far of all the cards that we've seen, I don't think my sentiment has changed. I definitely think the cards shown off so far are the most interesting and the coolest cards this year by a mile. By a
Yeah.
mile.
Oh,
I'm
for sure.
extremely happy with how this set, with how the reveals have been going with this set. I am very excited for this set. This is the first in like maybe 6 booster set releases that I've actually been actively excited and am like counting the days until I can open these packs. And just like, I want to play these cards so badly. So I guess let's just start with the characters, right? Because now we have all the characters.
Yeah.
So Bridget is the first one.
Sure, we can go in that order.
How do we feel about Bridget?
Okay. Starting with the interesting one, huh?
Yeah.
What if we? Well,
Let's
so what
actually
if
wait.
we were-
Let's do Bridget last because Bridget's probably the
Okay.
one that's the most like, the most like,
Contentious.
yeah. So okay, let's do Happy Chaos first.
This character's so sick.
Yeah. So, I'm a very casual Guilty Gear player. I started playing Guilty Gear after the set was announced last year. I'm not 100% familiar with all of the mechanics, but I've played enough of it now that I vaguely know what I'm doing. If I say something very, very offensively wrong, I'm sorry. My understanding of Happy Chaos and how I think it works from the 5 minutes I messed around with him in training mode, he starts with bullets. He has moves that shoot bullets. The bullets, like, track your opponent, or, like, they're very, it's pretty easy to hit your opponent with them. Like, I remember people used to complain about him or something. I don't know if he's still broken in Strive, but he was a good character for a while. And his mechanics in this game, you start with 6 bullet counters, you spend bullet counters to get his ability, and we've seen one card so far that gives him more bullet counters. Presumably there will be more. Because I believe one of his other mechanics is like he has to reload his bullets, and that's the trade-off. Is you have stronger specials, and then you have to reload your bullets, and you're vulnerable when you're reloading. But I don't know exactly like the specifics of how vulnerable you are, whatever. So I can only guess as to what the costs of I would be shocked if there's not a foundation that just says reload, like commit, get a bullet counter or something. Like that would be surely that has to exist.
Yeah.
like has to. But we'll see. But yeah, so how do you feel about him as a character though?
So he's on symbols I should love. These are
all chaos?
I really enjoy like the Suzuki symbols, right? Like I
Mhm.
really like characters that work this way, like Ball Might. Travis really thinks this guy's going to be good. And for me, I'm a little concerned that the stats aren't quite there. Like I think 1-1, we've talked about 3-3 being the standard of being insane on a move, right?
Yes.
And 1-1 is like a bee sting. Like, it's not a whole lot. And then like getting momentum is sick. But the fact that you have to choose between that and stacking your check and drawing it is good, but it doesn't do all the things. And then, so I'm just not sure this guy's going to feel like he does a whole lot. I do want to touch on 633 is insane. I don't know why this guy is 33 health. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Thematically, he's supposed to be squishy. Why is this guy?
Yeah, he's a zoner.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very odd, but yeah, that's kind of my take on him. I feel like what I would want to feel good about this character is if we had some way of just full sending his bullets. If there was like, how there's that wall counter powerful card that lets you use a couple counters for wall.
Oh, sure, yeah.
If there was something like that for his bullets, that you could play the SR, stack a huge number of bullets, and then just
his ultras them. Like spend up to 3 bullet counters and like get stats for
spend
the
all
bullets.
of them.
All of them?
Who cares?
No.
Let's just go nuts. Yeah, just go crazy. Like I don't know.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
It maybe it's too much. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I kind of want something like that, and maybe again, I don't want to say this guy's going to be weak. I don't know. Maybe that's still in the kit, right? Like maybe we just haven't seen that yet.
Because we've seen about half of the set, and it does seem like character kits are back. Like we've seen specific character synergy. Like obviously, this guy uses bullet counters, and there is a card that says bullet counter on it. Like it looks like we're getting kits, more or less, but we'll see. Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with because because I think if you're going to have a small set with only 8 characters, it's fine to have 64 of that, set be character specific synergy cards. And like
Yeah.
the tension cards are generic enough that a lot of other characters can use them fine, I think. But
Yeah.
all right, so we got Eno. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry.
I think it's I know.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, cool. The mage
She seems like
tag
she's gonna be
also
really
is
annoying.
notable because I don't know if there are any mage enhance or mage response cards from Critical Role that are good.
Widowgas, Web of
Caleb's
Fire
stuff,
is
yeah.
backup hate. I don't really know what else.
Are they on her symbols?
Yeah, Caleb's on Fire Void,
Okay.
so she has
Sure.
the fire move.
So that's like something interesting is that like I think one of our big complaints about Critical Role was how hyper specific a lot of the keyword synergies were, and it did not seem like that was ever going to change when we got 2 more sets without any of those keywords. And then now the Guilty Gear characters look like they have some slightly more generic keywords that actually play well with the crit roll cards. There's some more that we'll get to later, but that's good. That's great, actually. I think my biggest problem with crit roll was not even that I thought the cards were weak. It was that the strong cards were very insular and locked to crit roll characters, and I think the crit roll characters were weak. So if we're getting more keyworded cards to make the crit roll characters better, and more characters with the keywords to make the crit roll cards better, that's great, right? Like that's what we want. Like we want cards to be more functional. So cool. I know seems super obnoxious.
I think this character's so cool.
I think she's sick. Yeah.
I love the tape swing response being on a character. Like for those who didn't play back then, tape swing was a move that you ripped people's faces off with. It was like you couldn't fully block it, and you could spend momentum to change the zone repeatedly. And every time you change the zone, it got +2 damage. It's a 2 check. Now you can just have this on your character, right? So I like that. I like a few things about this character a lot. The first I like is that she plays really well with the Roman cancels because you have a zone change for free in your retention moves. Like that's sick. And then like it's a mechanic that's also kind of generic. Like you can put it everywhere. There's various zone change things on her symbols through other sets like Dexterous Assault. There's like a Kuwabara attack. I want to say. What's May's got twisty surroundings until it
there's
rotates.
Like bending sword or whatever.
Bending blade,
Bending blade, yeah.
There's like a number of these. Three Eyes of Hiei is one. So she has some tools, right, to kind of pump a bunch of damage on an attack. And then there's also this like seal aspect of her, which certainly has potential, right? It's weird because it turns off things in your opponent's stage pretty quickly if you're afraid of it, but if you use it poorly, you do nothing. Like you give your if your opponent has the block zone, then they protect their reset or whatever and block anyway, and you didn't really accomplish what you wanted. So I'm not convinced that she's going to be insane or like really strong, but I really like the tech center, and I think she has a lot of cool synergy, and I like the idea of an aggro 7-hitter like this for sure. I don't know if Mitch, you have any take besides that.
I mostly am just excited to have another character to try. Like there was a large period of time where I was like messing around with the Shoto 4 stuff, with like the like other seal things. Her having access to I can't remember exactly what it is called, but Shoto's 2-diff that says flip mill seal something. Having access to that and then like
failed role model.
Yeah, failed role model. I'm sure there's a decent amount of like other synergies in that vein that she gets to play with on Fire. Fire
well,
also
she doesn't. So she doesn't really benefit that much from additional seals, and the reason for that is because her enhanced target seals. So if you're using target seals already, your opponent won't care about canceling the zone change, right?
That's fair.
So you,
I guess
you actually kind of want to use the enhance on an open stage where they want to protect something really bad. That's like the best way to use it.
That's fair. I guess the large amount of things being sealed payoff was Shoto the character itself, but like,
well, it's also Hooligan's Mockery from Exandria. It's a 2-check
Molly
like
card or whatever.
Yeah, right? I think it target seals 2 and then gets damage for every sealed or something like that. So I mean, the card's not bad.
I guess also notably she has some synergy with what is Wingnut's condition to get the 2/2? It has to be something sealed period in your opponent's stage. So like you get 2/2 based on that, and they can't press buttons on Void, right?
I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
But I mean, their stage being sealed doesn't really matter then because they can't press the buttons anyway.
No, yeah, I'm saying it's like I think that Wingnut Sabotage is just a really nice like little like flow card in her in general in that case because she can make it like a 6/8 in whatever zone, and your opponent can't stop you from like rezoning it necessarily with something besides uh like her like they can do the like avoid condition on her enhance, but if you have any other like foundation, like if she gets more stuff in her kit that says like, hey, no, for real, change the zone of this attack, not your opponent can decide to stop you from doing that. You can
Mhm.
make Wingnuts like if they do choose to let you seal, or if they do choose to like keep their stage unsealed, you can make this like upwards of like a 6 high 10 that your opponent can interact with. Plus with like a 1 high block, it's just like a nice card to have access to.
Sure, yeah.
I think
I
Void
mean,
defense is also just like pretty good, and like not to say that this character should be like playing defense. I think she should be doing like aggro 7-hander stuff, but like you have some modal options with Void in that regard.
yeah. Um, do we want to talk about cards from her kit now because I have strong feelings about a
Sure. Yes.
particular one?
Yeah. Yep. Let's do that.
Okay. Megalovania. Do we want to talk about what it does?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is. Let me make sure I have it up. Is this like her ultra or whatever? I
It's
don't know what it'd be
her.
called.
I'm pretty sure this is her. I believe they're called overdrives. I
Overdrive.
don't
Okay.
know. I know Ride the Lightning is Kai's overdrive. I don't know
So-
if Megalomania is her overdrive. I imagine it has to be.
Megalomania. Sorry.
I imagine it
Okay.
has to be.
Yeah,
But I don't know for
so
sure.
for context, we didn't really talk about it. Happy Chaos is one is like wheel your hand, get bullet counters equal to the cards.
Yeah.
It does check a 2. This card checks a 3. This is a 5/3, 5/5. Static was in your card pool. If there are 3 or more sealed cards in play, your other attacks get 1/1. Guess there's a payoff here for multi-seal. Um, the Blitz. Seal 1 card in your rival stage. Card. Not
Yeah.
foundation, not any card. Your rival may spend 2 momentum to cancel. So there's a cancel condition, but
It's
2
pretty
momentum
tough
is
to
a
achieve.
lot.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, I'd actually argue
Uh,
Blitz your rival spends 2 momentum is also a really good effect.
Yes. So this just turns characters off for free, especially if they go first with it a lot of the time. It's kind of a terrifying effect.
Yeah, that's very
Not sure how
scary.
to feel about it. The flip side of it is playing this and getting sweepinged and hit with this is
Oh God.
also disgusting.
Yeah.
Um,
And just like that,
so
we've arrived back
it's
at
one
the
of those
sweeping
cards where I don't
level.
know if sweeping shadow bans it or not, but
Yeah.
Blitz seal their character is crazy. It's not total erasure binding; it's whole turn gone. Doesn't have to be character either. It could be their, I don't know, their cape of no return, right, or something. So yeah, this one is certainly a card. I think it's going to be one of the SRs that people definitely want, but
Yeah, for
I
sure.
a little bit spooked by it to say the least.
It looks sick.
It does look
Got that going
yeah.
for us.
It's also really sick in Shoto 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh
it gives
yeah.
1/1 and gives you a seal, and yeah. And it's
It's
ranged.
everything.
So you get the response right away. Yeah, this card's crazy.
Ranged pog. Yeah.
Yep. It is everything you want for that character.
We're back. Shoto's last
I
ride.
know. We'll be
One
coping for
time.
a little while
Yeah.
and then realize
One
it's not
time.
good enough, but It also counts cards sealed total, so if you have Tranquility of Death, that gives you 2 sealed right away for it.
Right, right. We have Ryan's new man's Kai.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Kai's the character I play in Guilty Gear Strive. So this is the one I was most excited. Like, I was like, surely he'll be in the set, and he was, because he's one of the main characters. And I was also like, surely he'll have the order symbol, and he does. So here we are. He's Order Air, which is canonically the only 2 symbols I've actually ever topped an event with, which is fun.
So
That
is fun, yeah.
I definitely think he's a character that I'm gonna have to play some games with to like evaluate properly. Like, I don't think his enhance reads very strong. I think his response reads very strong. And
Yeah.
I think the problem is that if the enhance doesn't actually facilitate, like, his response facilitates his enhance, but like maybe not vice versa. Like, +1 speed does not really do that much to lead into on hit triggers. +3 speed does, and his on hit trigger does feed back into his condition to get the +3 speed. But I think the cards that he seems like the best with are like Showdown seems crazy in him, right? Like with the nominal speed hate, and then you showdown them and you put them even further committed, and then if they check one bad card, now they probably have 6 committed, and then you're probably you know, you're probably off to the races. Once you're -3 speeding every move for free, you're probably not dying. Hopefully, like obviously you can get zone checked or not have enough cards in hand, but like your stage is probably not going to be the limiting factor once you get the -3 speed online. And additionally, he gets to play Aerial Kokosho, and Aerial Kokosho is
now
a
we know why it is charge.
Yeah, is a
For some-
charge.
We've done it. You figured it out.
So definitely that one is going to be kind of wild because that one seems like literally like the god card in him, where you block something, you Kokosho, they either get hit by it and then you target commit anything, and that's obviously very
will get hit.
strong. Or if they block it, they're tapping, 3, to block it, and then now
and stuffing their card pool.
and stuffing their card pool. So Kokosho's probably hitting them, and you're probably target committing something when you Kokosho. So that's really cool. The other one that I found that I like a lot is my favorite combo. I'm actually hand shuffling these cards in my hand. I bought them on TCG Player and Rochester immediately once this character got revealed. Is Heartbeat Surround. So Heartbeat Surround is a Giro 3 ultra rare from Girl Power. That is a 5-diff 2 high block charge tech. The static that matters is while this card is in your card pool, your rival commits 1 foundation after your charge attack deals damage. So if you block with Heartbeat Surround and reversal them with Aerial Kokosho, they either block it or on hit, you target commit 1 and they commit 1. So that's pretty neat. And then Heartbeat Surround, obviously, like on offense, it also has that. So after your charges hit them, you choose commit 1 from Heartbeat Surround and the target commit 1 from Kai. Or because they have to be committing, you might just choose to freeze the ones they commit with Kai as well. And then the enhance on Heartbeat Surround is your next attack gets +1 damage for each of its keywords. And since Kai cares about charges and ranges, he has a lot of options that have a lot of keywords. Like Ride the Lightning has 4 keywords. That's his ultra rare. That one's not the best card. I'm not even sure if that will be in my deck, but there's some other synergies I found. Or there's 3 keywords. There's some other synergies I've thought about with that card that I'll get to. But audio reverberation is another. It's the Giro 3 SR that has 4 keywords. Patrick Baby isn't a charge or ranged, but you could just play Patrick Baby, and Heartbeat Surround into Patrick Baby is a billion, trillion, gajillion damage. The other cool one, Alchemic Satchel Toss, is a 3 low 5 range tech weapon. So it is a weapon, so it triggers Kai. It's not a charge though, but it is a weapon. And response after this attack is blocked, your rival commits to. So they either block it and commit to, or they don't block it and you target commit 1. So, and it has 4 keywords. So you can Heartbeat Surround, they pretty much have to block or else they commit 2. And then Alchemic Satchel Toss, it's a 3 low 5, but it gets 4 damage from Heartbeat Surround. So it'll be a 3 low 9. And then they block it and commit 2, or it hits them and you target commit with Kai, and Heartbeat Surround will make them commit 1. So I think he has some cool stuff. Spellbolt and Sword Swipe is a Fury range spell weapon, so it's 4 keywords. And the Blitz is discard a card. If you discard a spell, you can ready 1 foundation that has not been readied. If you discarded a weapon, freeze a rival foundation. So freezing is always something Kai wants to do, and re-readying is always something that any character wants to do. And it is a spell and weapon, so duplicate copies of Spellbolt can trigger itself, and Ride the Lightning is a spell weapon. I believe it's a spell charge weapon. So that one also gets both effects for Spellbolt and Sword Swipe. So I think he has a lot of stuff he can do. I'm pretty optimistic. I think when I first read it, I was pretty underwhelmed, and then when I really started digging into the card pool, I think he has some cool stuff. I don't think he's gonna be like super crazy, giga broken or anything, but I think like once you get over the hurdle of the 6 committed, and then you get +3 speed on everything, and you stop clicking the target commit button and you start clicking the freeze button, and you just freeze 3 of their foundations. You could even just play Heaven Piercing Ice Wall and like don't do this or something like that and just freeze even more. And it could be like, as you said, we could be creating Sophisha in the aggregate. Like, again, we're just like we're going showdown block. Okay, Aero Kokosho, extend handshake. Like it's like your turn is over now. So
someone is gonna have the worst tournament game of their life where their opponent quad aerial Kokoshos them as Kai. Commits their entire stage and puts them at 2.
Yeah.
And they just go, build, pass,
go.
die.
Yeah. So I do think like I am happy he is a control character, or like I'm happy he is a more mid-rangey control character. That is the play style that I have pretty much, despite starting my play with Chiro. I never really played Jiro like crazy super aggro like a lot of other people did anyway. But I do think like obviously I've played Hawks for so long that I've kind of shifted into more of the control like aspect, and boy do I love blocking. So I cannot wait to block with Heartbeat Surround and reversal with Aerial Kokosho, and my opponent read every card on the table 4 times. Like that's my dream. So we'll see. I don't think, I don't know if I'll like it enough or have built a deck good enough. I'm to like bring it to regional or something, but almost certainly this will be my locals deck for a while, and I'm pretty happy with that. The rest, his like kit or like the cards he got, let's see, Stun Edge is fine. I think like as his like tension card, because the other thing is tension, he wants to have 1 tension ability per turn because he does want the which one is it? He does want blue, remove freeze arrival foundation. Like Stun Edge being stun 1, get a Roman cancel, and then you can just form freeze the one that they stun is perfectly reasonable in him, I think. So like Stun Edge is fine. It's not amazing, but it's a fine like poke. Ride the Lightning is pretty underwhelming. I think its stats are just kind of low. I wish it had like EX or something. Like EX2 even would have probably been what I would have like if I were to look at this card and be like, I think it could have EX2. Like it's an on-hit ability.
Deadlock EX7.
Huh?
Yeah, of course.
I think we agreed on Discord on Deadlock EX7.
Deadlock EX. Oh yeah, like the Tasty Riff, Deadlock Powerful 7. Yeah, Deadlock EX7. If it hits and you draw 2 cards, that's obviously great. Like I think or I wish it had like an on-block ability or something. Like it doesn't feel very conducive to his kit, if that makes sense. Like it's obviously it's a charged weapon, but and like giving it speed matters, but it doesn't really feel like this is the Kai payoff card. Like Tyrant Ray feels like the Soul payoff card, right? Like this feels like oh, this is a big like Megalomania feels like an Ina Chaos card. Deus Ex Machina feels like the Happy Chaos. Like this is the good card. So it is very odd that Ride the Lightning feels like this could have the power level and text of this card feels like it could have been a rare, but whatever. Let's see. Heaven or Hell is technically not part of his kit, but it's pretty good. We talked about this one before, I think. Roar of the Spark.
It was revealed the last one,
Yeah. Roar of the Spark is fine. Commit -2 speed or give your attack stun 1. I think those are things he wants. This will probably be in his deck. I don't know if you play 4, but he'll probably play it in some capacity. Cool thing about this, for those of you who don't actually play Hilti Gear, most of the characters so far, like Roar of the Spark is Kai's theme song from the game. Disaster of Passion is May's theme song. Find Your One Way is Soul's. So every character, or most of the characters so far, it looks like they have a 2-hit foundation that is like conducive to their strategy and is just the name of their theme. And they're pretty cool arts, and I like them, and that's cool. That's neat.
Oh, for mentioning all the cards, we should mention the Ino's Foundation is crazy.
Oh, which one? Hard Rock Witch?
Yes.
Yes, after your rival plays a non-character ability that modifies the damage of an attack, cancel it. Yes, that's pretty good.
That card cancels everything under the sun.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that card is pretty sick. Yeah.
Same with Drift is pretty good too, I think. Which is Happy Chaos Foundation.
Evade and Cop.
Yeah, it's like it's worse Evade and Copy, but it is Evade and it's a
Yes,
a
little brother of
notably-
Aiden Copy.
Yeah.
Notably, an effect that we wanted in the
Yes,
game.
yes, it is an
So-
effect that we wanted in the game. Yes, so that's cool. Anyway, so that was my Kai TED talk. So if you're looking for cards to pick up, if you want to play Kai, I bought the alts of all these cards because I really like them, but I'm sure Heartbeats around the regular rare or the ultra rare I think is like literally $1.50. So if this is a character that interests you at all, I think this is probably a card you'll play on order if you play Order Kai. And at the moment, pre-rotation, I feel like you're gonna play Order because I feel like you really want Showdown, right? Like Showdown feels
Probably.
like a card you really want for Kai.
Even
so.
after rotation, stuff like Master of Drunken Fighting probably feels pretty.
Oh
good
yeah,
now,
for sure.
right?
And then if you play more commit cost cards, like if you like Ariel Kokosho is the only commit cost card I really have in here now. But if you play more commit cost cards, then you can play like Forceful Negotiation, stuff like that. But the last card I guess I'm talking about for Kai is there is a crit roll uncommon. It's a 1-diff foundation, undeterred. It is a 2 mid block response. After you block with this card, your rival's next attack is -2 speed, and it has Champion Breaker 1. And Kai has the Champion tag, so he gets to
You've been in
play.
the lab.
He gets to play.
Yeah, he's
I
been
told you,
going.
yeah. So he gets to play this card. There's another Champion Synergy card. I don't think Kai will play, but Resilient Charge is the big 7-diff that gets -1 difficulty if you are a champion, and -1 to its block mod. Yeah, I don't think you'll play it. It is a charge. It has some other text on it too, but like this one seems a bit more dubious. Undeterred is like I've been screaming from the heavens that Order has no playable 1-diffs at all ever. So even though this one is blank in stage, I just think the fact that it's a fantastic block trick, like a fantastic block trick in a character that wants to be blocking, is pretty good. So I'm probably gonna put Undeterred in my deck. Like I think this is fine, but yeah, I don't think Resilient Charge will make the cut, even though it is in my hand right now, and it's like all the card pull stuff is cool. But yeah, I have a pile of cards I already ordered that arrived yesterday. So
maybe Ryan won't quit UVS after all.
No, I'm a Kai game. I'm a Kai main now.
We're back. Yeah.
Yep. It's okay.
Well, as soon as Kai popped on the screen, I figured Ryan would be the one to talk about him the whole time.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Anything I missed?
No, I think you covered every single angle.
All right. Yeah. May. The only funny thing I have to say about May is a copies of beast summoning.
For sure. Yeah, this was the
Yeah.
I don't know what attack. I think people are gonna pick the wrong attack at first to put 8 copies in their deck. But I'm pretty sure it's beast summoning, and I think that's just hilarious. Like just going a bunch of beast summonings into her ultra rare, and like her ultra rare being like stuff the card pool and it stays on their turn is like really obnoxious. I don't know if she's good, but the text is hilarious because someone out there bought 8 Black Abysses 5
for
minutes
sure.
after she was revealed.
Yeah, for sure. That's also like I think the joke I'm making is like May is a character by Big UVS to sell more Black Abyss or something. Like that's they just now you have to
maybe
have
8
like,
Hunter's Ally might just be good, right?
Yeah, 8 Hunter's Ally might be good. I don't think 8 Tasty Earth is good. I don't think putting 8 2-checks in your deck is conducive to healthy like a healthy mental state. But we'll see. We'll see.
But then you draw more of them.
It's true.
Maybe.
What if you don't play any foundations above 2 costs in your entire deck? What if you only play 1s and 0s?
I don't
Then
think
it's
there are enough
perfect.
of those left.
There probably aren't enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't even play the freebie Earth one because you could check a 2 on it.
But you can play Crawl to the Wall or whatever.
You could play Crawl to the Wall.
That is
It
true.
checks a 4. It checks a 4 for your Tasty Riff,
It does.
and then you build it. And then
Yeah.
you check a 4 Tasty Riff and commit it.
She's definitely key, or like her text reads like she's meant to just string like crazy, and she doesn't seem to have any immediate tools to do that outside of like haha Tasty Ref or beast summoning. So I'm pretty sure it's beast summoning.
Tatsugeki.
But
Sorry. I was
yeah,
sorry.
we're just
I
gonna
was
send
actually
a whole bunch
I was
of
actually playing a game of low ranked on my
Yeah.
Switch as we're recording. That was
beast summoning.
actually
Beast summoning.
Yeah,
Beast summoning.
literally
Beast
yeah.
summoning.
That was,
That's what I'm saying. It's a
Yeah.
beast. We need it. We need the altar, right?
Yeah.
The dolphin.
Yeah. Oh, they did it. If they did a promo all of
Like a
beast summoning,
Totsugeki alt,
but it was
beast
just
summoning,
Mr. Dolphin. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be insane. Actually, that would be
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Right. Calling it out. Let's do it. Her ally stuff is cool. She has some
Or
scaling
alt Hunter's
stuff,
ally.
like,
Sorry, if they did an alt Hunter's ally and it was Mr. Dolphin, that would
that'd be
also
great,
be
too.
that would also
would
be
be
good.
sick.
Yeah. She does get some ally stuff, which is cool. Like, I feel these packages have had some pieces but aren't quite there. Not sure how to feel about a new teaming. I guess it's ally locked, which is
This one is so
fine.
much worse.
I agree.
I think
but
I'm fine with it, but we'll
it
see. I guess
yeah. I'm not a huge
it
fan
does
of
have
this
powerful
card.
too.
It does have powerful too, and the blitz. When you're done, the blitz is super obnoxious. Like the fact that the card doesn't clear, so it stays there through their turn, is just like ugh. Yeah,
That's supposed to be
that's
like
about it with May.
that's supposed
I
to
don't
be
know.
like block pressure. Like I don't get what this is supposed to be emulating. Is it like
I
you're
don't
caught
know.
in like you're in a block string and like you can't get out, so you have your card pool stuffed? I'm not really sure what this is supposed to be like emulating.
Yeah.
It's cool. I think this card's interesting. I do not think this card is nearly as good as teaming.
Oh, for sure.
Prepared to eat my words when my opponent plays 6 copies of Mr. Dolphin into, zero diff, great Yamada attack,
Zero diff,
and kills
diff,
me. Yeah, of course, but we'll see.
Yeah, as Tim Keefe put it when she was revealed, this is going to be the day of everyone talking about their magical Christmas land hands.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Literally. Yes.
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 She exists in Fantasyland only.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's.
But hey, I mean, Beast Summoning doesn't have that problem, right?
Yeah.
So
That's true.
a character can exist only in my dreams, and that's fine. I also think May is a popular character, and she has a cool effect. And I think and it's an unorthodox effect that, like, if you like this character, you will have fun trying to figure out what the best one to pick is.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, this is pour one out. May is actually saluting the UGN deck builder dev team as it crashes due to trying to implement her ability.
Someone will enter a tournament with 8 sweeping daggers somehow on a random character.
Somehow. I'm sorry, good night. Salute. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
I don't know what let's see. Mr. Dolphin is I wish Mr. Dolphin was a 3-diff, actually. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying I wish this annoying card was stronger.
The scaling
but I actually think if this was a 3-diff and you could just put 8 of this in your deck and that was your deck, I think that would be
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah. But
it might have been too good.
Maybe it was too good. This actually feels like when I look at this card and I look at the style line of this card, this feels like a card that was a 3-diff and it was too good at 3, and you can't make a card a 3.5 diff. So you have to make it a 4. And it feels a little too weak at 4. But
Well, I mean, so not necessarily in May, but now we have 4 Mr. Dolphin, and there's an Exandria card that also says this.
Yeah. I mean, this also has good synergy with I just think Mr. Dolphin, when you compare it to Throw Servant, seems pretty bad. Right? That's the one.
Yeah.
When you compare Mr. Dolphin to Throw Servant, and Throw Servant is also an ally with Water
It's also a
3
high 3 4 diff. Yeah, it's also not great.
Yeah, it's also not great, but it's tension. It's tension. So
Mr. Dolphin is tension. But
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying is like the saving grace of Mr. Dolphin is it has tension. Throw Servant also has tension, and Throw Servant is a better is a 1 mid better than a 2 high? I don't know. It depends on the meta, right? Like if people are going mono high, then a 1 diff is garbage. A 1 diff is used.
Your 3
napkins.
high 3 that's drawing you a card and snapping you momentum. You don't really care about the fact that it's a 3 high 3.
Yeah.
Your tension attack that scales for damage in the card pool, you do kind of care that it's a 3 mid, right?
Yeah. So
yeah.
if you have a lot of Throw Servants and just keep drawing more cards, I don't think you're upset about that. If you have a lot of Mr. Dolphins and they scale to 3, it also is okay. It does count itself. For some reason, I read this card 4 times and I thought it said each other ally attack. It does count itself. That is a bit better. For some reason, I was thinking that it didn't count itself, and I was like, wow, this card is really, really bad. Like, this card is not good. But the fact that you can lead with it and it's a 3 mid 3 instead of 3 mid 2 is a little still pretty bad.
Big fist bash on a 4. That's not very exciting.
Yeah. What does wait a minute. I mean, May gives it damage too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's whatever. I think you are more likely to pick Throw Servant than Mr. Dolphin, but it's still probably fine. What are the rest of her? What are her other cards? Great Yamato attack we talked about. And then Disaster of Passion. After attacks, completely block, draw a card, discard a card. I don't really get how that synergizes with her, but it's fine, I guess. That's like not a bad card. That's like pretty good, actually. I think, right? Maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of
It
whatever.
works on defense too. Like if you're on defense, and then if you just happen to be, this is like
Oh, sure.
on defense for water. That probably feels more relevant, but you just get to cycle a card, and you draw before you discard as well, which is pretty good. That's relevant.
It's like long range support, but blocking instead of uh, like when they deal damage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay. Who
Yeah.
is-
So vampire guy, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
this character, I
Nagoriyuki.
immediately
Nagoriyuki or whatever.
Nagoriyuki,
yeah. This character says +4 damage on every move, which that's a lot.
That is a lot. Yeah.
That is big number. Um, he's a 632 that after you've used this 4 times, you lose 10 health.
Yeah.
You do get to target commit a rival card. Am I reading that correctly? Commit 1 rival card. Yes, he does tap characters.
Yeah.
But
That's
10
not
health
bad,
is kind
but-
of crazy. I believe his ultra rare says you gain life back, if I remember right.
I believe it's
Yes. Gain 2. It's a throw that gains 2 after dealing damage. If you have 2 or more counters on your character, gain 4. So you can heal back. If you play it correctly, you'll heal 4 of the 10 you lost. But that's still pretty painful.
Yeah.
What I would have liked to see, or I guess this might come out, I want something that says something about the amount of life you lost. Like, it doesn't have to be that insane, but like, I feel like that would be a very good card to have in his kit and line up with his blood counters, kind of sequence the attacks right, or only play so many in a turn to get there. But it's a weird thing where it would be useless in everyone else, because if it was playable when you lost 1 health, then when you lost 10, it would be insane, right? Like the effect would just scale so far out of control. So yeah, I don't know. This guy might end up not being the most interesting. However, he does give. There's a lot of tension moves on his symbols. So tension, thunder, spear, barrage, +4 damage, right? Like there's that's a lot. I just don't know if he's ultimately going to be that interesting, because you just kind of die if you spam moves.
Yeah.
Oh, Kai also gets to do Thunder Spear Barrage range stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But
All right.
I guess okay. So Thunder Spear Barrage is a cool one in him because you probably don't use its blitz.
Probably
You
not.
probably do
right?
6i2, 6i2.
Yeah, probably, and just
Yeah.
tap 2 or tap 1 for freeze 1, probably.
That's kind of.
And then if they're like really tapped out, then you go fine, like -4 speed and then +3 speed with his own ability, right? And then it's just
Did we even see other Nego cards? I feel like there's like a
there's
like a flip draw.
So it's
two-diff.
literally 2 flip draw, and then there's Kamaruyuki is a 4-3 tension blitz if you have 1 more
It's
counters on
EX2.
your character, EX2. So technically in him, if you just spend the tension for EX, it's a 6-7 4-diff, which is not the worst stat line, I guess. But
Sure,
you could probably
yeah.
do something better with
You
him.
can probably
but-
find something
Yeah,
better,
of course. But it's like not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't really remember this other stuff. Yeah, heal 4 is quite a lot on Bloodsucking Universe. Maybe Krista? You could heal 4 in her. That's pretty good. Sorry, not Krista. What's it called? Historia, the one that heals a bunch as you build.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that on any of the symbols for? Do we have anyone that can like the heal payoff is what's it called, like a moment of peace or something, like a moment of rest or something that's like in deadlock every time you heal, draw like a card? Maybe?
yeah, but it doesn't draw 4. It just draws 1.
No, yeah. I'm just saying like just
Yeah, just
another
like a
incidental
little bit of
synergy.
extra. It's not nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't think we think this guy is particularly interesting. He just
No. He's just like big damage number, so like something to be aware of. If this is your man's from the game, he's like not unplayable, so that's
yeah.
good.
Notably, a lot of the defensive characters don't really care about being tapped, like Rodan. Maybe not a lot, but there are ones that are just going to laugh at that ability if you're using it for character. So
Yeah.
I guess in those
Um,
situations, maybe you're tapping something more relevant, but it might not be the greatest effect all the time.
yeah. I think Potemkin is incredibly uninteresting.
Yeah,
That's like
we
my
Well, some might argue that, hmm, I think we could have posted
well,
this in just like the r/Guilty Gear subreddit, and maybe
yeah,
some people
and
would have
people would have just been
agreed
right.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
yeah.
maybe. You know,
Potem-
like
somehow Potemkin is my litmus test for which game I am playing.
Somehow, like,
It
more boring
is
than
this
Metalhead. Like,
yeah. It's like for me it was always, am I playing Guilty Gear or am I playing Blaze Blue? Which one has Potemkin and which one has Iron Tiger? Like it's I I'm aware that I am playing this game because Potemkin's in it.
yeah,
And
I
that's
think
about the end of the sentence is Potemkin's in it.
it's weird he doesn't have like actual throw synergies. Like that's like
Yeah.
on his face. Like that's weird. But
yeah, completely blocked. Your rival discards a card. So it's like, I mean, if you do throws, they just half block them over and over, right? And you don't get the response.
uh,
I don't
yes,
know.
or yes, if they can. Like if they zone match, it still discards a card. I think.
Oh, it's not once per turn. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. I see with the edge this guy has over like Metalhead. That okay, sure. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really get it. I think he'll be fine / not great.
I think he'll be pretty bad. But
Yeah, I think he will
yeah.
suck.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
yeah,
Soul
yeah.
is kind of interesting. There's like some really nice.
That's all we have about
interesting stuff.
Potemkin. We didn't want to look at his cards.
Yeah,
Wait. But Potemkin has the Behemoth Typhoon, or that's not even Potemkin.
That's not Potemkin.
I like that card though.
That card is
sick.
cool, but that's
It's
not
a 0 high
Potemkin.
block that. Hold on, it's a 0 high block where if
It's not
you
even on-
commit cards
Potemkin's
to pass a
can't
block,
even-
you show down your opponent.
Potemkin can't even play
Yeah.
that one.
I know.
It is cool. He
Yeah.
just wanted to mention
Anything
it.
but
Neat.
Potemkin, man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he just sucks, dude.
yeah.
He does nothing.
Potemkin Buster is also a 2-check ultra. God, I guess on the bright side, Ride Lightning could have checked the 2 for no reason. Now that I look
Yeah,
at how
they
many
could've-
of these ultras just check 2s, it's like Ride the Lightning could have been a 2-check for literally. But yeah, if this deck's not completely blocked, it gets +6 damage. Is a fun one for a throw. Yeah, like if they.
And it also can't be roaming canceled with the whatever one. The one that sets it to 3.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they can't run away it either, right?
That's funny. Yeah.
Or is
That's
runaway
true.
in the damage step? Probably not.
It might not. It probably
Wow,
is. I'm gonna.
It
hope.
is, no, I'm pretty sure it's on block, right? Or like
I don't remember.
No, it's unblocked. The block status has to be set because you can't run away when a backup is attacked.
Yeah. Okay. So this doesn't do anything to that.
I don't.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not sure.
We already did not have high opinions of Mr. Potemkin. So
yeah. Well,
it's okay.
what's the other? He has a.
I don't know what the
Hammerfall's
like,
not. Well. Oh, hang on. Every time I read Hammerfall, I just assumed it was a throw, and it just
Where is that?
isn't. It is a 1 mid-7 with tension. I just assumed it was a throw,
No,
and it's just
It's
not.
it's just bad. No, it's not.
Okay.
That's
I'm
like, I
sorry,
don't know.
Potemkin. I'm sorry, Potemkin.
yeah,
I don't think you
they
have
did-
much going on for you.
they did you so dirty. Someone on the team
Uh,
hates you, bro. It's
Flip
fine.
after able to plays the keyboard ability of your choice. Armorclad Faith is okay.
Oh, that card's good. Yeah, that one's good.
Walking Fortress is pretty good. Not in Potemkin, probably,
It's
but in
the
someone else.
Armorclad Faith is the one diff, right?
Yeah, Armorclad Faith is the one diff. Yeah, that card's pretty good.
Yeah, flip take away tension or flip take away, I don't know. Shift, right? It doesn't need to be
Yeah,
a plague.
take away
You
Echo.
can just Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get the thing with like giving a 5-hander the 2-check when he's already struggling to build is also like why? Yeah.
That card also isn't very good. So, in my opinion, like I read this card, I'm like, if this checked a 3, I still wouldn't play it probably. I mean, maybe I'd play it in Potemkin, but I don't think I'd.
Yeah, in Potemkin,
I don't
sure.
think I would play it actually, but I don't know, maybe.
Okay, it's fine. Soul. This guy is actually somewhat interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he's got some sauce.
I think he
he's
is
cool.
the perfect. He is just like in the games too. I feel he is a perfect entry point for the mechanics of the set. So A plus on the design flavor of, your first attack gets mechanic of the set. Very cool. Thumbs up. Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yep.
We
I
did
like
it.
that.
He's
Yeah.
he's the one on the box.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did it.
he's the one on the box. Yeah, it's pretty good. Um, After one or more cards are added to your momentum, your next turn to play a fire card gets +1. So you can just chain fire tension attacks and get +1 forever, or the slightly more interesting one is to sequence your turn to where you have very few fire attacks in your deck, and you do a couple momentum grabbing moves, and then you play a big fire move at the end. Yeah, that's kind of like the
AKA Tyrant Rave.
Tyrant Rave. Yeah.
Support from the female is sick in him.
That is also true. Yeah.
Just fires for free. Huh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about using it like what's it called? Whirling Slash and then playing a air move way later.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Also
also
just fire
has
card. You could
yeah,
make Command of the Founder passable.
Yes.
Finally,
or you can just play like a at the end of your string. I know this is a very boring use of it. At the end of your string, even if you are just playing a bunch of fire cards, you get to play a foundation with +1 to your check at the end of your string, right? So you can play a 3-diff foundation with a straight face. Like you can play I guess Heaven or Hell. Oh yeah, like you can play Heaven or Hell at the end of your string with a straight face, and it's +1 to the check. So even though you can play on a 6 or a 7 with +1, and like you're not a complete buffoon, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I don't know what other fire
he's
foundations you have. Yeah, I think he's very basic and very cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of room to build with him, I think.
Yeah. Find Your Runway is pretty crazy, I think. I think this has the potential to scale. I'm surprised this is a card that doesn't have a max something on it.
Yeah, like a cap.
Yeah.
Yeah. On top of that, he has what is it called? Like he is on Let's Rock, which is a card that people were worried about and nervous about and other things.
Yeah.
Which like I I don't know how worried I am about it. I'm not like sure what the like broken use cases are for it, but it reads kind of crazy.
I don't know. I'm just picturing Titan Cliff snapping 2 momentum.
Oh, look, we found it. The broken use
or with
case.
him. Oh no. The use case that's super obnoxious is Godzilla form snapping a momentum. That's just like ugh.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that. I think we talked about Let's Rock already.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that one was already revealed the last time.
Yeah. Okay, what cards did we miss? Oh, that all right. I think we loop. Oh, we didn't talk about Bridget yet. That's one. That's
we haven't done Bridget.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We
Okay, it's time.
Go ahead. Yeah, tell us about it.
Okay, so character. First off, character is sick. Flipping cards in your card pool is a mechanic that like has a lot of things that can break with it, but it's like really neat that they put this on this card. She's on symbols with things with the Mina 2 static for people who didn't play back then. Mina 2 static is cards in your card pool, face down cards in your card pool don't count towards progressive difficulty to play, whatever. So things like Acid Screen are really cool in her. She can do things like manifest an attack, flip a card in your card pool, yada yada. And then like her response clears some of those cards she's flipped, which is really cool too, to help with progressive and all that. I think she has a lot of tricks on defense. She has some really cool offensive strings. And then there's Fillet Fling. The existence of Fillet Fling and the effect that she can flip the current attack means that you can build a deck that goes Hunter's Ally on a 5, build in Ray Fillet in case you didn't have one already. If you have it, that's not necessary. Flip the attack, Fillet Fling on a 4, pick up to clear your card pool, flip the Fillet Fling on a 4, pick up the Fillet Fling. So essentially, 2 Fillet Flings in the existence of a way of stuffing their card pool. The end result is every time you play one of these Fillet Flings, you put a card into their card pool, so when your opponent goes to review, their deck is tiny, and then you put the rest of the cards in their card pool, and they have 0 cards, and they lose the game. This seems like it would be difficult because you're making a lot of checks, but it's on air, and we have incompatible quirks for 3 more months. So you can essentially check 2 times your foundations in 3s. Is this something you'll do on turn 2? Probably not. Is this something that is still ridiculously obnoxious? Absolutely. Like, your opponent can't build without this. They can't for a filled without. So the interaction is like super limited. It's like really annoying, and it just seems like I don't understand what the point was of allowing this to exist. These cards just came out. Like Fillet Fling was printed,
Mm.
2 months ago or something, and it's already being part of this like potentially problematic infinite combo. And I just don't see what the positive is of a combo like this existing in the game that is so like difficult to interact with and kind of really safe. There's not it's not like, oh well, if they run away then this becomes harder. If they frantic rescue you, it becomes harder. None of that matters because you're never hitting them. You're just milling them.
Yeah, so I think we covered everything for Guilty Gear and everything that's ever happened in this game forever. Real quick,
Yeah,
let's just rattle
we did a
off
nice retrospective.
the infinity cards.
Oh, I was
Cross-up
also going to say, I think
protection.
it's very funny. It's very funny that Bridget's ultra rare is called Loop the Loop.
Loop the
Anyway,
loop. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, I
all
don't know if
things
you guys
all things considered.
am I the only one potentially crashing out about the infinite, or is that just
I mean,
No, I think it's
no.
really stupid and obnoxious that it exists, but like,
sure? Okay.
whatever. It's whatever.
Thank you
I
for
mean, like,
validating my feelings.
I have no, yeah. There's nothing we can do about it right now,
Yeah.
so it's out of our hands. Like we
they
pointed
they
it out
did
that it
say
exists.
they did say we are looking into how future cards interact with yada yada yada
Okay.
yada yada yada. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hopefully this is on the radar of things that
yeah, it should be.
they got rid of the airship loop with equipment heist before it came out, and to be
I
fair,
think
that
the
one would have been better
only-
than this, but it's fine. Like
Yeah, I
Hawks would
think
be a
the
tier
only
negative
thing
one
you
character
can-
if that were the case.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
equipment heist by itself would be infinite damage on a 3. Like that's like okay.
I just think the only way to really fix it is to allow her to flip one card that is not the current attack or something via a Narada. Like that seems like the only way you can really stop this from
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. I mean, I don't think you should be able to flip the current attack. That is like kind like that. It's one of those things that like, why are you allowed to flip the current attack that's being played, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like obviously outside of this combo, I think this character is really cool.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it's someone who I'm gonna put time in on and play, even with the infinite. Despite my distaste for that being a thing, it just seems like the most efficient way to win with her. And like I think playing defense this way is really cool, right? Like blocking, flipping, blocking with Jin's parry, flipping it, skipping progressive, maybe manifest clearing stuff and flipping that. Like I don't know. I just think there's a lot of neat tricks, but kind of lame that this is how I'm gonna be winning the game with her. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I guess all of that about Guilty Gear to say. I mean, actually, we didn't talk about the rainbow cards. You were
Yeah.
talking about cross up.
Yeah. I
protection.
really like. I think cross-up protection is such a funny card.
It's very funny.
It's such a funny card.
Yeah.
Oh, on Bridget, her action's really cool too. I like it.
What is it called? It's her. Is it the name of
Kickstart
her?
My Art.
Is it
Yeah.
the name of her song or yeah?
It must be.
It probably is.
Oh yeah. Sidebar. I guess also at the Atlanta Regional they were playing the Guilty Gear soundtrack the entire weekend, so that was pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was neat.
Was that out of
those
the
songs
AC
were really
unit
good.
or?
No, that was actually
We
what they
didn't talk
diverted the
about-
power.
Yeah.
That was what they diverted the power from the AC to
Yeah.
play. So
Yeah.
trade-offs.
Got it,
Trade-offs, I
got it.
suppose.
Devil brought the fires of hell with him to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he must have. Yeah.
Yeah.
And only Rodan, the giant monster of the sky, was able to fly above it all.
Extinguish the flames. Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, but this action is enhance this non-throw attack gains echo, which is very cool.
Good. Yeah.
Giving echo to anything is crazy, and it's a 4-diff that's cheaper if you played a Roman cancel, so it's a 3-diff action instead. Sick card. I'm a fan for sure.
It's pretty sick.
And she's roller skating on her yo-yos.
Yeah,
That's pretty tight.
That's
Walk the Dog reprint one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
Unironically, they could do it.
they
It's
could.
all gangbusters.
Oh my god, if a regional promo was just like
Bridget
Walk the Dog. Yeah,
Walk
that
the Dog?
would be.
holy fuck, they would be cooking. They would be cooking
Highest
insane.
attendance ever.
Yeah, maybe.
Holy fuck,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
wild.
Champion
Yeah,
Bridget walk the
the,
dog.
my God.
Insane.
Well, they should do champion characters again. I feel
Yeah,
like
they should. I agree.
the champ thing doesn't work very well for non. Yeah,
Hondo
other
Gecko
Infinity
is a
stuff.
type of character. Sorry,
I guess
continue.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like character stacking if you squint, right?
Yeah. And the
okay,
unique ones
anyways.
die. Yeah. Whatever.
I like Faultless Defense a lot. I think this card's really good.
Yeah.
It kind of rewards like half blocking stuff, and it's like well, it's in your card pool. It DRs. Yeah, just like a solid card. Psych Burst is one of those bad cards you put in a set to know if the mechanic is a problem. Right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
if
fine.
this
actually.
card starts showing up, then
You're
know
like,
Roman Cancel's an issue. Yeah. And some of these others are just kind of like, I like Wild Assault. There's some 5-diff attacks and things, but
Psych Burst is them pre-planning for the Godzilla hit, so they can also stop Calvin from winning an event on Amajiki.
So what I don't get is I don't even get why it makes them spend the momentum because every single Roman Cancel ability has removed cost. So if you're hitting Roman Cancel with Psych Burst, spending it doesn't actually matter. I do understand
but the
that
Electric Jolt reprint, Ryan.
I would be
Oh
okay with
my
that.
God.
I would be okay with that. Kai getting Electric Jolt, I actually almost made that joke. I said we need Electric Jolt back for Kai. It is on both of his symbols. Kai Altar Electric Jolt reprint actually would go crazy.
It crossed my mind, and I was like, we should do that.
Go
we should not print that card.
crazy. That would go crazy. No, I want it to be
That
Kai
card was
Enhance.
so good.
Kai
Kai
Enhance. Kai Enhance Electric Jolt. Kai Denki Enhance. Kai Denki Enhance. Kai Denki Enhance. Kai Denki.
Can you imagine getting the licensors to agree to Kai/Denki Enhance?
Yeah, right. How are these characters related?
Yes.
Kai/Denki Enhance. Let's do it.
Yeah, so
All
good.
right.
Are there any
Kai/Denki. Sorry. Kai/Denki/Hawk/Jiro Enhance. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
every card Ryan likes enhanced.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Basically.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what? / fingers crossed, God willing. / Ryan Levine enhance.
Got to future proof it.
Of course.
One time. Yeah.
Who's Mr. Brave? You'll see.
You'll see.
Yes, you'll find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
With that being said, that has been the 11th episode of the Werewolf Podcast.
The longest one ever. Probably triple
longest-
length. This could be 11 and 12
Probably.
if we really care.
This could be, yeah. This could,
Yeah.
you know what? Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I feel like we'll have a lot more to talk about in a few weeks here when we see more of the set. We didn't really talk much about the roadmap, but we'll know a little bit more about that, I think, as well. We know that there's we know which ones of the 6 IPs announced are the challenger decks and which ones are the full sets.
Maybe we'll know about the solo leveling experience stuff, and
yeah, hopefully we'll find out more.
With Fern and Dorian, right? Because they're legal now too.
Correct. Yeah. Go check out those on the store redemption website.
Assuming they are sold out.
Are they still available?
I
on the
don't want to
store?
know.
I'm about to
I
check.
really
Nope.
well,
I'm gonna check.
We could always just, as we've said before, lying is free and everyone has access to it. So they are in stock currently.
Appear
as
to
of
be
when you're listening to it.
They appear to
Okay.
still be in stock as of
I didn't
right
hear
now.
about issues with buying them, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
In
this
fact-
might have been a rare card. AOW.
Smooth sailing. Yeah, there we go.
Holy
Okay.
cow. Okay.
Yeah, as of when you, the listener, are hearing this podcast, they are certainly still available, and you can definitely go buy them.
By the time you open your browser, I cannot
Yeah.
guarantee they'll still be there. But
Well, I can.
okay, fair enough. All right, thank you all for
I was gonna say,
listening.
yeah.
Yes.
You probably just end it there. Yeah.
We will see you next time.